yes, we are open, so let's get our ponies in the gates. Hopefully your pony has been in the gates. I'd like to say good morning. Look at these two beautiful humans. Deanna, good morning. Welcome back here. And of course,
Thank you.
How are you,
Eddie,
Deanna?
welcome back, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much. I got your present. Thank you very much.
How old are you now? Is it 29?
29, yes, and a few days older. 29. Gosh, 29.
No, yeah.
Try 59. Try 59. Yes, 30 years in a blink of an eye. But yes, we're open here, and I'm going to pass the torch over to see if we got some opportunity to trade. So let's have it.
All right. Thanks, Eddie. Hey, Deanna, it's always great to see you. Thank you for being here with us, as always.
Yes, it was a pleasure.
I feel like we were a little bit tardy coming into this, and I'm not in a big hurry to do anything, as I talked about on opening call. The equities are right in the middle of the value area from Friday. I'm going to be patient. Even the overnight stayed inside the value area from Friday. Very little change in the perception of value in these equities. One thing we were looking at, and I know that you're sometimes a crude trader, is do we re-accept value from Friday? But you're focusing more on RBOB. So what are you thinking in the RBOB?
Yeah, so with crude oil, I am keeping an eye on it because I do want those ranges to come back, not just across just one day of explosive movement and then nothing. So I do want to see it in a range of about 160, 180 ticks on average before I start including it back into my tradable instruments. Until then, I'm just going to keep observing. Robert. I'm looking at a similar situation. So we do have a value area slightly higher up at 278.75. So if we accept that, there could be a possibility for acceptance of value, just like in crude oil, or we could also have the value rejection. So it really depends on how price behaves there. So I'm going to stay a bit patient until my levels are here. I did trade gold this morning for London, so I passed one of my combines. So that's so that's on Topstep, and I'm going to keep that one going for an XFA. I have another couple that I'm working on Rhythmic, so I can have like a bit of flexibility over platforms. But yeah, so this was pretty nice movement during London. I actually caught a short in gold.
Really?
So I'm just gonna go. Yeah. So I'm just gonna talk through this. We had this this high that was established after a big move up that happened during Asia. And then the markets started slowing down somewhere around there. So I entered a short position at 2360.7, and it kind of just fell away from there nicely. So no drama, very orderly price activity. And so now I'm going to sit on my hands a little bit to allow this COMEX session to develop a little bit more before we allow back in. So again, not trading the first hour. We did open inside value, but we closed the gap from Friday. So that's a little bit of a mixed picture for me. So I want to see what the initial balance and the initiative players do with this before I decide how to position myself. So therefore, patience. That is the name of the game. It's Monday. We don't want to be rushing into anything. Like I said, I have one combine that I hit target on. We'll be working on the other two. May even find a live trade. We'll see. But for now, I'm not itching to go to live because of some bugs and they got slightly crossed. So we're still trying to sort that out. But yeah, so let's stay patient. Let's give the markets time to do whatever they're going to do, and then we're going to aggregate all of that data, see where we are, do the OODA loops, and then see if we can find a position.
I like OODA loops. Hey, look who popped in. Dolby, welcome.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
You have a nice weekend?
I did. I left my camera down to the bunker. Had to do a little bit of a scramble and run down there real quick, but we got it. The bunker is good. We're good. Everything is good. Markets are good. Crude on the up and up, which is pretty exciting. I have a daily range high at 87.62, daily range low at 84.89. We were in a 1 hour range between 86.47 and 86, and we broke out of that. So my next target for crude is going to be the 87.62s. And since we're on early enough, we might actually trade a little bit today because the price action has been pretty good. How was everyone else's weekend?
Good.
Mine was okay. Yeah.
87.63 is last week's high in crude oil, so you got a little bit of confluence there.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I wouldn't try a short quite yet in crude oil until we probably get up there. So I think it's just on the up and up until it starts to rebalance and find a happy place again. What's going on in the YM? Oh, YM is stuck in a range. And got some new
really
products here. Yeah, really range bound.
Yes.
Got some fun new products. This is cool here. So
we have micros, we have platinum. Yeah, so we have micro crude, micro gold, and we have platinum. So the micro army is going to be happy. I'm also happy because I sometimes like to drop down to a micro if I want to preserve profits for the day, but I want to keep trading. Don't do that often, but sometimes if you're like, oh, actually, maybe I want to get involved, and now we have that flexibility, so it's awesome. I was very happy to see that this morning. I was like, hey.
Yeah, so we are slowly starting to trickle out some new products, and we got platinum. I've never traded platinum in my entire life, but it looks like it enjoys going up right now. It is
platinum is a pretty good one. It does these moves all in one go. But it's pretty predictable. It's very time dependent, kind of like crude oil. So it does this lunchtime hour reversal very frequently, and it does a momentum trade usually within the first couple of hours. So it's it's a nice little trade. I have traded it a little bit, not too dissimilar to gold actually, because gold has those moments where it just kind of moves all in one go and then like nothing, which is why some people find it a bit hard to trade. But I actually like that sort of price activity. Like if you see a level, see a reaction, I just want it to go. And sometimes you have equities that are range bound and they're like, come on, what's happening now? For you, Dobie, that's great because you're a range trader. I don't really like doing the whole base hits. I find it very exhausting, and you're constantly looking at levels, and it's patience and timing, and you have to be accurate, and then you have to wait for like 2 hours, and you're like, oh great, I just got 18 takes. Woohoo!
What's the tick value in the platinum?
It's I think it's $5. Yeah, it's pretty cheap, and also. Whoever has a NYMEX exchange already on their XFA, platinum is on NYMEX, but it works on COMEX hours. It's pretty bizarre.
Really?
So if you're already paying for crude oil, you've got platinum there as well.
Well, that's kind of cool, actually. That is cool. Yeah. But yeah, $5 a tick, not bad. The volume on the dome is somewhere between 1 to 20 on average, it looks like. So it's not a ton of liquidity, but there's enough there to get the price going up and down.
Yeah, it slowed down last week, actually, for the last 10 days. Just as I was starting to look at it, I think they were just waiting for NFP, to be honest. And it just got locked into another sort of like 120 ticks. And I'm like, what is this? Like, whatever I touch, it just stops moving. And I'm like, hey, we're in that kind of Twilight Zone moment. But yeah, it looks like it's screaming, and that's a good sign. Let me see if I can drag it over.
Fun market to keep an eye on here. We are still looking forward to getting some farm animals and some grain products.
Yeah.
And that should be, I think once we get those and maybe some financials and some bonds, that's a pretty well-rounded platform. That should cover most stuff. Yeah,
yep.
I'm looking forward to that. I would still love to know more about bonds. I don't know anything about bonds. If anyone in chat has like a good YouTube video that explains bonds for a simpleton like myself, feel free to put that in chat if you even can. You might be not allowed to do that.
I mean, one thing that I know about bonds is that they move when there's like something to do with monetary policies. Outside of that, I found it pretty quiet. So it's like they tried putting me on a fixed income desk at one point, and I was like, please no. I'm just go and jump off a bridge now. It's like I was in a trade for like 3 hours, went off to do lunch, come back, and it was in profit for like 3 ticks. I was like, wow.
Sweet.
No.
Sweet. Some awesome action there. That is some awesome action. Hogue, I put up your weekly kickoff levels on my chart here. Looking forward to seeing how those play out for the rest of the week. So I got them in green on all of the markets that you covered.
Got it.
So
hopefully they work out nice for you.
Typically they do, Hogue. Typically they do.
Mm-hmm.
Crude has a ways before they get to any of them, but some of the other markets are a little bit closer here.
Yeah, the one thing about crude is last week's weekly kickoff high was $87. Now, it was resistant on the overnight between Thursday and Friday. And Friday, it broke out above it, but closed back below it. So to me, that's still a level that I'm keeping track of. And what's our session high so far? 87.10.
Yeah.
Now it's starting to come off. So it's rejecting value from Friday. It's rejecting above that 87, similar to the way it did on Friday. We did set a kind of a weekend gap there that's been closed. So that 87 weekly kickoff high from last week, I've left. If you can see it on my chart here, it's here in gray, because it was last week's level, but I still think it's a valid level for opportunities today. And so far, that's a 30 tick move below
what's
it.
That little box you got there, Hogue? That's right above.
That is the weekend gap. So we opened we opened outside of the range from Friday. So that's a weekend gap. I can take it off now. It's been taken out. So here's the gap. Here's the open. Went right to close the gap, right to value low, right to weekly kickoff high. Last week's weekly kickoff high. If I still believe that they're going to be impactful, I'll put them in gray if I move them. So this week's weekly kickoff high is $90, $90. But we've got to show some participation above 87. We saw a little bit of it on Friday. What was the open interest again? But we lost open interest on this. So was this short covering or long liquidation at the end of the day? Maybe a little of both. So we didn't see, new business coming in above that level. We saw old business being taken out. Volume hasn't been all that great. If you ask me, day over day in crude oil, I think the volume has been pretty low. That's why I've been keeping the auction grade, between a B and a C. Today it was a C. Because we did not show acceptance, momentum, volume, or much time above that previous weekly kickoff level of $87. Now we're looking at a 40 tick profit off an execution at that level.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Seems to be the rejecting value and rejecting that 87 weekly kickoff level from last week.
And Dee, what's your relationship with crude oil? Is that something we can talk about, or is it still on the ropes a little bit?
It's just that the ranges are still a bit tight overall. So when we have like one day on NFP, where it kind of screams, that's kind of expected. But even on Friday, I stuck with gold. And on Friday, I managed to grab about 400 on gold, just doing like micros.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So it is possible if you know what to look for, if you know how to take advantage of those moves, it shouldn't really matter whether you're trading small or big, So obviously 3 micros pretty good. I think I got like a 5R trade, and I don't use small stops, so that was quite a big chunk of the move on Friday.
Yeah.
And it actually would have been more, but again, I had something that kind of phantom order that kicked off, so I had to close that for minus 200. Otherwise, it would have actually been about 600. So yeah, it's possible.
Wow, nice.
So crude oil, I'm looking at. We accepted value, but it's now reversing away from it. One thing that I didn't like about the value acceptance in crude oil is the fact that the value from the previous day is actually not that massive.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 65 ticks. And again, I like to use about 30 to 35 ticks on crude oil. That's something that's worked for me for many, many years. And anytime I went below that, the number of losing trades would increase. And then, yeah, you would get some of them that would hit the 2R multiples target, but I just didn't like the fact that too many of them would lose. So I'm actually looking at the crude oil value rejection here. So reversal at value. It's kind of a fake out. Mondays on crude oil have this tendency to go the opposite way for the rest of the week and the rest of the trend. So if we have an uptrend, you will get a lot of Mondays where it goes back the other way. But just by the fact that it's just reversing from value, it just kind of smells of another 100 tick day where we don't really go far. So I'm not really liking that at all. We should have seen some follow through and a complete close through that value area for value rotation for that special situation play. We didn't get that. So that's a bad sign in my eyes for now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's
well, as far as looking at tilt, I mean, where we've got 63% long S&P, 62% long NASDAQ, 56% long crude, and 66% long gold. Nothing very tilty going on here, especially it seems like in the equities, which are still inside their overnight range, inside value from Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do we like approaching Mondays typically? Do you trade small? Do you switch to the practice account and place a bunch of dummy trades and get the cobwebs off? What's a typical approach for y'all?
I usually don't do the practice account immediately on Monday. But having said that, I do try not to wake up, smack down an espresso, sit down, and just go boom, because that never ends well. One thing that I like to do is to spend a bit of time moving the body just to get things flowing. I spend quite an extended period of time doing the weekly plan, so looking at those large time frames, and then I move on to the intraday and day time frame levels. Only if I see something super obvious, I will trade it. So this was the case with gold this morning. I don't think I even started trading until like the overlap. So, it was literally like 4 hours of me just observing, not really doing anything. And that's worked for me very well. I think that mental side, the mental preparation is very important when you begin your day, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it doesn't matter. Every single day when you get up, the first thing that you should do is make sure that your mindset is in order. We see way too many people when things start moving, they're like, I need to go in. Just slow the F down, It's like, breathe. There will be opportunities, especially on a Monday. You don't want to get yourself in a hole on a Monday doing stupid trades. One sign of overtrading is if you sit down, you lose the first trade, and then you immediately kick off the second and third trade.
Back in another one. Yeah.
I've been there, done that.
We've all done it. Everybody's done that.
Yeah.
But then, you learn after a while that doesn't work. So you're like, okay, maybe I should slow down a bit.
And that's an accountability thing, Dee. I know you're big on data. I've been trading for years and years and years, and I know that Mondays are not my best trading days.
Yeah.
See, Mondays are okay. Fridays are worse for me. Because I've had Fridays where I've given back the entire week's profit. But Mondays are actually okay. It's probably because I start very slow. And I kind of insist on strong setups rather than going, hey, it's a breakout, let's go in. Usually I try not to do breakout setups on a Monday because they usually fail, especially in the first sort of 2 hours of active trading. So that's one tip that I have for people. Try to prepare yourself mentally before going in, rather than sitting down, smacking in a trade, losing, and then getting yourself into that pain situation where you're trying to get back to equilibrium because you've put yourself into a lot of pain immediately on a Monday. We need to stress less. This is a stressful enough job. You don't need to do that to yourself. So be kind to yourself. Maybe go do some exercise or something. If you feel the urge to trade, you probably shouldn't. Because we shouldn't trade out of an urge. We should trade because data tells us so. Because we have a good level. Because price activity is working in our favor. A whole bunch of other things before you click that button. But because it's so easy, you just sit down, click, and you think that's the name of the game. It isn't. The name of the game is to mentally come prepared because you are fighting yourself. You're not fighting anybody else. You're not fighting the market. You're fighting yourself.
Mhm.
Yep,
D,
and,
do you think the eclipse is going to do anything? Oh,
it's got
I
something.
don't know, man.
Hey.
I mean, I don't know how much I believe in all of that,
astronomy.
you know. But hey, if I turn into a werewolf, we will know what happened.
That would make for some great content if you did turn into a werewolf
Yeah.
on air. We've got some news.
Sounds like we've got some news. Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, it's me again, folks.
Hello.
Just want to let
Hey.
you know, as far as our eco calendar goes, we got the CV employment coming out here in about 9 minutes. Very minor. But 10 o'clock, we've got our New York Fed 1 year consumer inflation expectation, 10 o'clock Central. Also, we're talking about trading here on a Monday. Some of us love to jump in right away. Some of us like to sit back and watch the dust settle. But one of our live traders, Pin Sin Ding, with a 5x5 in gold and a 6x6 in crude, nailed the first two trades of the week, netting them. There's a live trader netting them over $13,000 in profit.
Holy.
First thing
Can I
of
just
the
make an
week.
observation? He's probably based in Asia somewhere, right? So to him, that's not going to be a morning. To him, that's going to be afternoon or evening, correct?
Yep. And
Most
I think he is
likely.
based in Asia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
Probably. I don't have
Yeah,
access to the
13K to start the
That's
week.
different.
Way to
You know,
go.
that's
Nice.
different. That's when you're already up, and you're like with it, you're awake, you've done your exercise for the day, you're ready to go. That's a different thing. But those of us who are based in different parts of the world just don't go in immediately. Do something else, have a drink of water, have a walk, stretch, yoga, like whatever you do to get your body moving, do that first. And then
Yeah, I mean-
come to trade because your brain is going to be in so much better shape. You have to take care of your brain.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually had to make this adjustment, D, because typically I'm
Yeah?
a power hour guy, and so I'm not really trading until 2 p.m. And now that I'm on fast markets, I actually need to start getting a better morning routine to wake myself up to get in, or else I'm gonna I'm a little bit foggy and like not. I know exactly what you're talking about. You're just like you're
Yeah.
awake, but you're not sharp, and
Yeah.
it takes me a minute to get sharp, and it's like you don't want to be placing trades when you're in kind of like that dull morning state. So to have that routine to wake yourself up a little bit, or just pick a later time to trade if you're not a morning person. Markets are still open. If you watch Power Hours, plenty of movement to
And
make
one of the
some
main
money.
reasons why I remain in this part of the world is because I ain't a morning person. I'm totally useless. Like it's ridiculous. I've had moments when I was still at like doing the music university where, and I did like classical flute. I don't know why. Never really used that. I was doing the sax and electric guitar most of my life. But hey, I was like, let's be a rounded musician. So a lot of the times we would have these classes early in the morning. The number of times that I just grabbed my flute case empty and I turned up to class. And the professor was like, "Yeah, maybe we should like move this because it's not it's not very productive." I was like, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I really thought that the instrument was in there." I'm like, maybe it wasn't.
Maybe all music school classes should be in the afternoon.
Oh yeah,
I think all
yeah.
classes.
Do you know how
should be in
you
the
do
afternoon.
your dad's dad wisdom? Well, I've got my dad wisdom. Jazz is not for the morning. He always used to say that. It's like jazz is not for the morning.
Yeah, I had a jazz. I took some drum lessons recently, and he was like a jazz guy. And I play like drums in a metal band. I think I'm like,
Yeah.
metal's kind of badass. And I'm like, yeah, our show's at 10. You should come out. He's like, oh, okay, cool. I have a show later that night. I should be able to make it. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I go on at like 2 a.m. I was like, dude, you are so badass. My metal
Yeah.
band's done at like 10:30 or like 9:30, and he's not even getting on stage till like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I
And
used to
doing
do
an hour
club
set.
gigs with like Ministry of Sound. I was their live sax player. That was a late one. So you wouldn't even go on stage until midnight, unless it's like a festival or something. But usually it was just like a club gig, and you would go on at midnight. You would have the first set end at about 2 a.m., and then you would have another set that would start about 3:30, 4 a.m. and you'd be done by 5 a.m. So I would be getting home at like 6 a.m. Like, never mind, not sleeping. Like, sleep was like, what is that? Like, if you can get together like 3-4 hours, I'm great. Like, I don't have to sleep for the whole week.
At least you have some adrenaline to take you through with a show like that. Getting back to the markets, crude oil is back within my 1 hour range.
Yeah.
So about 20 cents above 86. It's now just approaching the series of higher lows that I have drawn on my charts. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm not a huge fan of diagonal lines, but maybe it ends up being support. And then the NASDAQ has been very, very good to range traders today. So if you were range trading NASDAQ, it rejected off at 18,370-ish, and then bounced right off of 18,000, let's say 240. So some cheap trades there if you were watching the NASDAQ. If anyone in chat grabbed the range trade and NASDAQ, put some W's in there. Other than that, a lot of kind of 50-50 stuff going on. It's a relatively slow day, it seems like. It kind of reminds me of Power Hour yesterday. Is the market just waiting? Just waiting.
Seems to be, right?
Yeah, it's a slow start. Yeah. Having said that, gold, I was doing my weekly analysis, and then I noticed the average range is like, 500 ticks. And I'm like, what? Is that right? And this is a grogginess, right? In the morning, I was like, that can't be right. And then I was thinking to myself, what this indicator, what has it been smoking? Because it can't possibly be 508 ticks. And then I reloaded it, and it still said the same thing. So I got another coffee, came back, scrolled back, and then I see a massive move that happened during Asia. And I'm like, okay. Like, how do you possibly miss that? If I was trading against that, just like randomly placing trades, I wouldn't have even noticed that because I would be convinced that there's something wrong with the indicator. No, Dee, something is wrong with you. Wake up. So with me, I try to find a reason like why that happened, and there is something to do with like a hedge fund in China. There was an event, so I want to find, or maybe get Eddie or someone to sniff that out, so that we can actually see what was the cause for that big move. Because I sort of looked it up, but again, I didn't do too much investigating.
Who do we got?
Guess who?
No.
Michael.
Hey.
What's happening?
The birthday
Glad to have you
boy.
back. Happy birthday, my friend.
Yeah, well,
Happy
thank
birthday,
you.
Michael.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm coming through okay. My headset's not working. It's a whole new setup. I'm in Chicago right now.
Yeah,
So-
you're coming through well, MP. Do you think you could turn off the TV that's behind you?
How am I supposed to know what's happening in the world? That's CNBC.
We shall tell you.
You got Topstep TV here.
It's-
You've got Hogue
here.
to give you levels. You don't need CNBC.
It's still
Also,
on.
your TV's still on. Yeah, TV's still on.
Oh, you want me to shut it off?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
There's no
I don't know
sound.
if YouTube
Oh, you want me to
likes
shut
this,
it all the
but-
way off?
Yeah, it's just distracting to have a moving TV.
I thought it'd
There
be
you go.
technically cool, but hey.
We'll talk. We'll figure out something.
What are you guys doing?
Are
How's
you
it
trading
looking?
today?
I'm up $290.
Oh,
Nice.
good.
Okay.
I had one of my
I
worst
passed.
days. I had one of my worst days ever on Friday, and I'll tell you why.
Oh no.
I'll tell you why. I was distracted. I was putting on my ski gear because we're going for. My wife put a party together on the mountain, so I was sitting there putting it on, and I go to click, and I go double click. No, I triple click. I go click. I thought it was a 1 lot, and I still had it queued up as a 3 lot from the day before. I had my clip size. You guys ever have your clip size where you like have it accidentally on a bigger number? So now I'm long a 9 lot. So I'm instantly long a 9 lot. And it was instantly like just flushed. So that was like 2,500 instantly. So then my I don't know, we can get out of this really quickly and then we can get going. I put it back on and I was down 5.
Wow.
It was bad. Then I put it back on, and I'm down 8, and then I ended up down over 10, hit my loss limit at 10. Who does that? I was like furious. It was within like 45 minutes, and it was the biggest flush out of the day because then I checked on it later. It was the biggest flush out of the day. So when I'm sitting there telling Mick that I'm going to start behaving on my trading, and then I did this accident. I did an accidental double click, but then I wanted to get out of the hole. Which the lesson here is, if you just screwed up and you got in the whole goal isn't to quickly get out of the hole. But I was already moving and I was already ready to go. Like I had half my stuff on, and I was about ready to go get in my truck, take off, and go meet everybody in town in Aspen, and then go on Ajax Mountain. But I didn't. I showed up a little late due to this, but I'm very, very frustrated with myself. I did have my birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to me.
I hope it didn't ruin the party.
Other than that, I'm not happy with myself on Friday. You don't end the week like that. But yeah, it is what it is.
Were you able to enjoy yourself?
Yeah. No, I realized very quickly that it was a stupid mistake, like on my end of it, that I made worse. That I could have totally not have I could have just stopped. But the 2400 to me was like, well, I'm not ending the day down 20. I swear to God, I said I'm not ending the day down 2400 on a mistake. So I put it right back on, and then it fell. It did one of those flush out 10, 20 handles, and then another flush out 15, 20 handles, and I'm like, no, it's not going to go a total of, like more than 40 handles on this pullback on a Friday. It can't.
Yeah, but it's NFP day though. I'm very, very wary doing anything against the trend on NFP day because it tends to have statistical trends. It causes these big moves. So this is why I had a couple of people who were like, "Oh, should we?" Because we were trading gold, and I was in on the long gold. So the guys were like, "Oh yeah, should we short this?" And I'm like, "Do not short. Just leave it alone."
And if you look at the charts, it was just a pullback, and it ripped higher. So whatever. I mean, I like walked away hitting my loss limit. And thank God I didn't ask. Mick was out. Thank God Mick was out too, because he has my ear. And those that don't know, when you're funded at Topstep, you get a great risk management team that keeps you at least understanding that downside and capital preservation is the most important thing in trading. So, who was there to have?
Yeah, Mick is great. I had a chat with Mick about some like platform stuff that was been going on with like, never mind, it's like API bridge, whatever. We kind of had a chat, and he was like, "Yeah, I get it. I've smashed some computers due to technology." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not there yet, but close." And he just has this very good way of calming you down. And it's kind of like Hogue used to be, because Hogue used to be the risk manager when I was there like million years ago. And same thing. Anytime you would do something, Hogue would be there to be like the beacon of light when you're like all up in your head. And then Hogue would just be like, "Hey, just, it's okay. Just calm down, go run or something. Just, don't just sit here and be seething that you've done something wrong." And Mick has that same calmness about him. So I actually really enjoy reaching out and talking things through, and and he does give you, he's not going to tear you down unless you've done something really stupid, but he will be very real and yet very understanding, because he comes from the trading background as well. Like, he knows what it's like. And it just means so much to have that accountability to fall back to just call someone up and just cry on their shoulder, and they're like, "Yeah, look, you're right. It's like, you know what you're doing. It'll be okay." And it just feels so much better than being just alone and you're pissed off at yourself and you're like, "Why did I just do this? This is ridiculous." Or what happened? It's just so much better to let it all out with another person, but somebody who's like, there's no point talking to your spouse who's not from this world, because they're just going to get annoyed. It's like, "Oh, you lost money again."
Yeah, I know. Why do you keep trading? You keep losing money. You're like, okay, well, losses are ordinary, necessary part of trading. So bear with me here.
They don't get it. So there's no point. But when you talk to somebody from this world who can actually offer you some words of wisdom and, some comfort, you can actually reset yourself and just come back the next day and go, "Okay, I can do this. Like
Mhm.
it's fine. And this is why it's so important to have that support system. Many prop firms these days, it's just like you're on your own, you're clicking buttons, trading a million accounts, getting yourself in a hole, and you have nobody to talk to. This is
Nobody.
like the only firm that offers that support system that everybody needs in this line of work. Everybody.
Yeah, so that
We've
was my
got
Friday. I had to be transparent and honest with you guys, as we all should be. So that is my short memory, though. Short memory. I'm moving on from this. I know the mistake happened because I did not look at my clip size, and I double clicked because I usually have a 1 lot in there, and I'll go click, click, click. There's a 3 lot, or I'll go join ask, join ask, join ask, or join bed, join bed, join bed, because I don't like to hit the market with a market order typically.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
that
That's a
is
great
my
lesson, though,
Friday.
MP. It's like, doesn't really matter where you are in your trading career, whether you're new or a veteran, these type of mistakes can still manifest themselves. So it's
Yeah.
like you still got to keep your head on a swivel, make sure you're, crossing your T's and dotting your I's as far as like your trading goes, because it can happen. It can happen to the most experienced. It can happen to the new traders. Just got to pay
I think the
attention, make
difference
sure
is
what's
how
going
you
on
behave
now.
after that.
Yeah.
So how you behave after it happens, that's the important part. Are you gonna let it? MP, I would look at this as kind of like you're a part of your birthday party. You spent 10 grand on a birthday party. Hey, you had a little bit of fun.
Well,
So
what's
much
great
fun
is
here.
the event that I was going to was at the very top Aspen, and I was going to pay for it because I had friends in town, and it would have cost $2 grand.
There you go.
So that didn't happen
There
because
you
there's
go.
wind.
Yeah.
So technically, I got out of that bill. So yeah,
So you're only down 8. It's not bad.
yeah, I'm only
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
sure.
the risk
It all adds
managers and
up.
everybody here. I mean, it gives everybody an opportunity to realize that that nobody's alone. I mean, none of us are
Mhm.
alone here, and everything that happens to every trader, Michael, what happened to you on Fridays happened to me. It's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to let traders know, hey, that stuff happens to everybody. You're not alone in that. And I've got a little quote here. It's from an anonymous quote, but not a single scar on my heart came from an enemy. Read that again. We do this to ourselves
Ooh, I like that.
sometimes.
Yep.
I like that.
That was a
So
deep one,
true.
Hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a year older, smarter than ever. I'm the smartest I've ever been. How about that? Hopefully, because I think each year, if you're open-minded, or growth-minded,
You'll learn something.
yeah. Hey, so the markets are doing nothing. If you're looking at a 30-minute chart, right in the middle of the range. But if you're looking at it in the last hour or so, no, in the last. What do we got here? Yeah, no, it's the last 5, 10. I don't know. But you had the sell off out of the morning, and then it firmed up a bit. And now you get a little back in the range consolidation stuff, fiddling in the middle from what it looks like.
Mhm.
That's what it is.
That's right.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yep.
And CL did break 86. I did have that level as my 1 hour range low. So my next spot for crude would be 84, 89 if we can get down there. But even still, crude is only like $2 off highs, which is not a ton. So
Yeah,
you are bullish.
it did
Crude
take out
long
the.
term. There's a lot going on.
It did take out VWAP, which was 86.04, which lined up nicely with that trend line.
Yeah, but just no consolidations on the 5-minute. Really, just hit that 87s and just been rolling over since then. So probably a no-go for me. YM did have a really nice range rejection of 39,300, which could have been a good opportunity for a range trader if you wanted that short. And then I think even the NASDAQ has provided some good opportunities within its range of 18,370 and 18,240, but it's currently stuck in the middle right now. This does remind me a lot of Power Hour yesterday. Platinum did pull back, so if you're looking to get long platinum,
Yeah, it might be failing the
take at
auction.
that
I'm
one.
literally just looking at platinum. So it could be failing the auction. But again, I need to wait for this TPO to close. It is building some structure around the initial balance high on the TPO. So if we can roll over to the downside, then we may have a failed auction setup there.
Nice.
So
Yeah, and MP, we got
right
some
now,
new products here.
yeah, I know,
Yeah,
and there's
new products.
there's some more coming, and then we're launching X think next week. I think that may change if there's anything that pops up as we quality test it, QA or whatever it's called. So that's happening. I think micros and minis will be fixed out of the gate. So that's going to be really cool for all those folks that
Nice.
size down. I don't micro it. That's just to me. I mean, the commissions are sorry. There's no commissions on Topstep X, but there is clearing fees. Clearing fees are passed through. NFA fees are passed through. Welcome to the regulated world of trading, where other things cost a bit of money, and the liquidity pool is seen by everybody. That is the same liquidity pool that everybody sees, price level wise. So futures is where it's at. If you're an FX trader, Dolby in a team of that's working underneath him is working on a FX to futures. Little onboarding, little bridge into the world of futures, right, Dolby?
Nice.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So it's kind of going to be like a kind of a crash course guide for those who maybe spend most of their time in Forex or CFDs. And we're also going to have a nice little introductory video from the one and only Austin Silver, who we've had on a couple of times now. He's been fantastic. He's a lot of insight into Forex, and so he's going to kind of help us bridge the gap between Forex and futures. But it's going to be a cool page. It's going to kind of just explain the very basics of futures, kind of like the products that are similar. So let's say you trade XAU in Forex, then we'll tell you, hey, try the GC. This is how leverage works, how contracts work. So it's going to be a nice little guide for Forex traders to come and try futures. So
yeah, it is. If you look at it, we have is it the Nike? Is that how you say it?
Yep, we got that.
Okay, we have that one. We have what other ones? Gold micro. We have a bunch of the micros.
Yep, gold.
But I've seen the list. They're adding more. They're adding more and more. But I think these are the most requested. But they're adding more. When we launch, the micros and minis will be done. The responsible trade copying scale up plan, which is the smart way to do trade copying, is not just getting a bunch of accounts at the same time, is to work towards growing that. And then you can scale. It's going to be much more cost effective. It's a smarter way to enter the funding world if you want to do trade copying. I'm not a fan of trade copying, but that to each its own. I get why people do it. So that is the next thing I'm pressing the group we work with over there to complete. So they're kind of mocking up what that's going to look like. So we're really excited. There's going to be a drumbeat of new features that keep rolling out. And this is what we worked on with this group that said they'll build us anything. And then they built us this sweet-ass platform. They added these the new products. You can see more products on here, plus the micros and mini fix and all that very, very soon in this month, in April. So bear with us because we're going to keep adding cool things. And we're going to take off the scrolling ticker on top with the tilt. And then that will just reside within the real time, because I don't even think you guys are seeing it real time because there's like 5-7 minute delay. That'll be in the platform. So if you want that to continue, platform's free, and it comes a trading view chart. You guys get it all. We've seen it. We've already pitched enough of it, but yeah, you'll be seeing the public launch here soon, and it should be exciting.
Yeah, and just to quickly recap, added 5 new products. So it is the Micro Russell, Micro Crude, Micro Gold, Micro YM, the Dow, and then E-mini Platinum are the 5 new products that were added. So try those out. We still have yet to get the farm stuff and the financials. So it's coming, though. It is coming. So, Andy, can you talk?
One last thing to that. It's going to be launched. It's going to be just like everything else, like pricing wise. But then you guys, we're really making TopstepTV the place where people come to get special stuff. Either it's information that you don't hear, or if it's pricing and fun little promo things or free things or all that. We're making it's tradertainment. So we're like, hey, how do we make tradertainment and make it exciting for the entire community? And then this community of thousands that come on here every day to tune in, it benefits. And then you can start inviting your friends, and then we just have this bigger and bigger powwow. And this is where we have fun with it. And you guys had the wacky inflatable guy. That's our little joke when we have sales. all that kind of stuff. So it's exciting. Either way, the platform's getting new and cool features, and we'll talk about them as they come. Robert does a great job, and I think he's actually doing videos on how to. I got to go to Chicago Board of Trade today to do videos on the features and whatnot. So that'll be cool. Yes, I think that's it. And then prioritize support. Those that are in Topstep X, we're going to be bringing phones back into there's an intercom chat that you can chat into there, and then you'll be able to get phone support quickly and prioritize support more quickly. So there you go. There's the love for Topstep X.
Yeah.
What I like about it in general, my favorite feature is the lockout button. You can go to my screen and the lockout button. That's what I should have done. You know what I thought, John, when I hit my DLL, because I have a problem. I think a lot of other traders have this one. And you guys can answer this if you have this problem. If I can look at the markets and I can trade them, if I can do two things, I can watch the markets and I can enter a trade into the markets. It will do both. But if you hit your screen and then you want to lock yourself out, which I'm just doing right here, which I'll say no, cancel. I'm up $290. But it's right here at the top. This to me is what I should have done. I thought about that when I hit the DLL. I was sitting there putting on my ski gear to go jump in the truck to go into town because I was at the Snowmass office. I was going into Aspen. I could have just literally just clicked that, and I would have taken that hold on you that the market has to want to participate, and I would have taken it all away. I would have killed it.
And we do, MP, we got some news. Got some
there's
news. Jack, what do we
big
got?
news today, guys. Big news today because
Big
today
news.
is Solar Eclipse Day. That is that is correct. Today, the moon will completely cover the sun in large swath of the United States. Cities with the best views include Dallas, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Buffalo, to name a few. This might come in handy for the quiz later. Remember those cities and which were not on the list. Besides that, rates. Got a few financial stories as well here. I took the snapshot this morning. It's always changing, but I thought it was interesting that this was the first time I saw the probability of a rate cut for June below 50%.
Ooh.
So keep an eye on this. I took this at 7 a.m. Central. It's since gone back to a little bit over 50%, but this is important. We started with 7 rate cuts. Now we're down to 2, and maybe that is what is bringing us 1 trillion cicadas. Yes, get ready.
I heard about that.
They
100
are
trillion.
coming. And as John pointed out, we previously learned that they have the most powerful urine stream of any creature on Earth, proportionate to their size. And then it was a slow news day, but Danielle sent this story in. And do we really have to kick a guy who's dead down with this story that Pavarotti used to eat pasta during his shows? I don't know.
expect nothing less. What's more? I mean, to me, that just fits the character. I don't know.
It does. It's kind of sad too, though. The idea
I
of
mean,
it.
you know, keeping up that kind of weight, it's a full-time job, man. It's not easy
Yes,
to eat all that food.
Carbo load for the opera, yeah.
I feel like a lot of those singers, though. Do you know? I know with like Broadway singers and stuff, it's like they just drink lukewarm water and are very careful about not eating dairy and stuff. And this guy's just munching down on rigatoni.
Well, dairy is problematic because it kind of creates extra phlegm and stuff. But pasta, I don't think it does the same thing. This is typically not made from dairy, is it? It's wheat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And-
it's like it's no different than like eating a bag of Triscuits, right? I mean,
Yeah.
wheat is wheat.
Lastly, I would like to address those who think that Andre has disappeared. We saw some comments in here to the effect of, "Where did you hide Andre's body, MP?
Oh, I know.
Will the
I
dogs
know.
find Andre?" To the best of my knowledge, Andre is still on this mortal coil. MP, have you seen him? He'll be back tomorrow.
Oh,
my
I was
understanding?
with him. I was with him until yesterday. Him and I flew out at 2:20 in the afternoon, and I was still on the lift with him at 1:00.
Oh.
And we were back. He's a really good skier. I try to keep up with him. We're back on some.
So MP says Andre is alive. Is that
Andre's alive, so much so that him and I hung out since Thursday. We had a little bro hug moment at the house, and then we said we're not going to talk work at all, and we didn't. And then we just had a great time. We had a good time, so it was fun.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does look like
you guys
Chad
have
is
known
somewhat
each other
suspicious.
forever, right?
Yes, that was not a fight. I'll show you guys a fight sometime. So that was just us talking work and how to do a strategy, which we got on the same page on the house account on what we're doing. So we're excited about that one. We're going to pick that up hopefully this week. And the house account is going to be something that everybody here in the chat that's tuning in will be able to participate with an opinion. And then probably the final opinion, and then we'll get the three other opinions that we're really going to base the foundation of the decision to enter or not, based upon three other decisions, trade ideas. And if they're lining up, and we're hitting funded traders, live funded traders, we're hitting our coaches, we're hitting our trade fluencers and whatnot in our Rolodex. That's all going to be happening. That's kind of the outcome of that day. If anybody wants to go back and watch a fun, awkward, cringeworthy, yet traders motivated to both be trying to figure out how best to approach the markets. That was that day.
The best thing about that day was that poll, and then Hogue went, "It is anonymous, isn't it?"
So then we wrapped it up on a stand-up that day and figured out how exactly we're going to do it. Because we've never done this house account on air. We've done house account, Johnny, since 13 years ago. Putting trades in.
I'm long gold, so I'm not looking for March because it is a neutral day type now. And I'm only doing 3 micros because I'm still in the combines. I passed the combine, one of them this morning. This is now one of the other ones, which is on 1 tower right now. So that's rhythmic. So we're going to see whether we can get about 20-30 ticks out of this trade.
There you go.
So,
Nice.
I mean,
Platinum
it
catcher
did look over the initial balance by just 2 ticks. Is that's far enough? That's good enough for you to kind of make it a normal trading day?
Yeah, because for me, I did like statistical tests and stuff, and we realized nearly any extension, like maybe it's like 1 tick, but nearly any extension brings a high statistical frequency of range-bound days. So it's like an elastic band.
Right.
So it's effectively a course for mean reversion trade intraday. So any extension, you can call it a neutral day type because of that. I was actually a bit surprised by that because in my program I actually put down, if it's just a couple of ticks, no, don't worry about it. It's just like, slippage or whatever. No, actually stats say it's actually a range bound day. Doesn't matter if it's 1 tick or 2 ticks. They've still gone over or under.
Right. And it looks like you've got things going your way right now. So looking pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm going to take that off pretty quickly because it's just a base hit. I'm not looking for much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this market is right here in the middle. Nice job.
So I'm out.
Nice.
Great trade.
Yep.
Nice. Bang, bang.
Quick.
How come I want to get short right now on this pullback? It's right in the middle, but it's right in the middle. I'm looking at the 30-minute and I'm saying this is a great, if it's going to continue. Who was saying failed auction? Was that these markets? Was that the equity indexes?
I know, I was saying platinum.
Platinum, okay.
Platinum's
but it didn't fail.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it didn't fail the auction. Yeah.
I wanted to believe it was equities.
We're not seeing much on tilt either, Michael. I mean,
no, we're not.
It's a middle of a middle of a middle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, crude and platinum are actually moving somewhat decently today, if you can catch a trend.
Yeah.
But the indices are very
I've been so burnt on trying to catch momentum trades on crude oil last 2 months. I'm really not itching to do that. I want proof that it is doing like 180 ticks, 200 ticks in a day. Anything else, I just don't want it for now.
And crude, what do we have? We have 167 ticks right now. In a pretty decent downside move here.
Yep. But like I said, I've been scarred looking for 200, 250, and then it would take me to 30 ticks profit, and then nothing. And then 0, -3, -5, 0, -3.
Trade the range. Congratulations, getting funded. Nice job.
Oh, trade the range.
Yep.
Person after my own heart. Love it.
Yeah. That is Dolby's MO. Aren't you a range? You don't look at trends. You just you look at
everything's a range.
Everything's a range. Look at that range right there. There's a range. You can find a range anywhere, and then you can find trends too. But like I like ranges. John, how come traders in the pit always liked ranges? And in the extension of the range, you would always see them fading. And I was more of a new trader, and I would always look to the breakouts, which we see all the time at Topstep. I'm sure other prop firms see it as well. New traders look for breakouts more than they look for range-bound trading.
Because they're exciting.
Because they're exciting. They're exciting. Yes, exactly. I always thought ranges were boring, and then you get these big ass traders that would.
It's easy money because it's easy money. Because when you catch a runner, it just goes like a million ticks in your favor, and you're like, yeah, I'm the genius in the best genius in the world. And, God's gift to trade. That's right. That's the word I was looking for. But yet ranges, they require patience, accuracy, timing. They are mentally exhausting because you have to be so careful with your entries. And, everybody wants those easy momentum trades where things break and then it just goes. That's nice, but you have to pair the day type with those kind of expectations. And many people don't. They just go, well, I'm just going to look for momentum trade. Oh, it broke. But, this is the statistical piece of information that John actually mentions quite a lot, that all breakouts usually fail. So, all breakouts usually fail. Something breaks, goes back the other way. Why? Because if it's a significant takeout of institutional stops, what you typically see is that the new side lacks momentum in that particular moment after the break. So they go back the other way to pick up more orders, and that takes time. We saw that on gold last week, where we smacked through the all-time high yet again. And then we had one day of a sell-off, quite a lot of sell-off, and then 5 days before they actually picked up enough momentum, and then they used NFP to push it even further. So that's the kind of stuff you have to look for, you have to be aware of. But just going for breakouts, do or die, it's not the way, when I did one, when the equities start ranging, I was like, you'll see why I don't like trading them. Because for me, that's like, oh God, great, 30-minute chart, everything's flat. So you have to go down to like a 2-minute, 1 minute, stare at the ladder. And for me, that's very mentally exhausting because I like to look at multiple things. And then if you miss it, it's done. It's gone. And you're like, oh, no, I had it. And then it puts you on tilt. And then you're like so angry at yourself that you missed it. And then you start doing stupid things. We've all done it.
Doesn't mean you won't make money doing it. I mean, you can look at, I think, maybe a trader like Rips, who trades momentum really well, but he's in and out of position so fast that that is a style that he's used to. But I would consider range trading and momentum trading two different sides of the coin, because a range trader is looking to buy a low, whereas like a momentum trader wants to sell the low and hope for continuation. But if you don't get that continuation, you have to be super fast and confident that that is not the breakout that you're seeing.
And objective. And that's one thing that Rips does really well. Yeah. So when he's wrong, he's out. Like, I don't want it. Done. And this is why sometimes he's difficult to follow. I've had a few Rips haters on my live stream the other day. So I was like, guys, just pipe down. That's not nice. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm not. And I'm like, look, he's very good at what he does. He's a solid guy. Just don't touch him. It's like, I won't.
There's a hater for every one of us, Deanna. Don't worry about it. We all got him.
Oh, yes.
But as long as you have more friends than haters, and I think you're on the right side of things.
Also, if
I
you
hate
don't
it.
have haters, you're not trying. If you're on the
You're
internet
not
as much as
trying.
we are and no one hates you, then you're not important enough to hate, and that's the worst
I
thing
hate
to be.
nobody.
So you gotta have some haters.
I hate nobody. And I am going to.
You've been the
Pardon?
nicest. You've been the most, out of all the people that I've ever met, you're the most compassionate, understanding, and you listen and you nod your head and you make you feel like you're this warm, fuzzy person that you want to give a hug to. That's what you are, John, to me. The last
Thanks,
14 years.
Michael.
So
You're
there's my.
gonna make me cry.
Well, I said it when I turned 45. I was going to start to soften up so I don't become this grumpy dude, which I kind of have been lately.
All right. Well, I'm stepping out for a little bit. We're gonna bring Eddie into the party now. So I'll see everybody later on. I'll see you all for group coaching. I'll see you on Power Players as well today. So we'll catch up later on. Michael, it's great to have you back. Thank you very much for the compliment, and we'll see you in a little bit.
You too, buddy.
Yeah.
And just so we're on the same page, Eddie had a birthday last week and we need to find out what he did. There he is. What's up, Eddie?
I rested. I relaxed. I re-energized. I did shit. I did nothing. I procrastinated. I was supposed to do a bunch of stuff, but I just, watch cartoons, ate Captain Crunch, and act like an 8-year-old. That's about it.
I have to ask Deanna this because my wife wore this hat when I first met her, and I'm a hardworking guy from Nebraska, and she's and I didn't grow. I grew up around cornfields. I didn't golf. I didn't do anything luxurious. I wasn't a part of a country club. And then I met my wife, who has been in the country club, and her dad was a golfer and all that kind of stuff. And she shows up to one of our dates when we first started dating with a hat that said "The Art of Doing Nothing." and it pissed me off. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like doing nothing? Why would you do nothing? And she's like, you should actually think about it because when you do nothing, you're very present. And she did this whole thing because she's a philosophy major. And then I fell in love with her even more. And I found out that you can recharge a battery by just doing nothing. So it sounds like, Eddie, you did the art of doing nothing last week.
Yeah.
There's an AC/DC song that has a line in it. Doing nothing means a lot to me.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yes, I guess I was sort of thunderstruck.
RBob. I'm long RBob. From an average session range low.
RBob.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to put that. And that's in one of my other ones.
As we talked, earlier, talking about Mondays, letting the dust settle and seeing where these markets are really moving.
Yep.
Speaking of moving, Eddie,
run here.
Stuff is starting to catch a bid.
Yes.
Yeah, this is fun. Okay, we got some action. We're good. We can get some win-in trades today.
We got 87s up here.
Nicely.
Deanna's got an RBob. We'll jump to hers real quick, but 18,387 is Friday's value area high. 18,387, which is 30 handles away. NASDAQ, 30 handles away is a value area high level. Anybody else has any levels that they want to share in NASDAQ to all our NASDAQ traders? Please drop it in there and give the reason why. Helps out anybody who's newbie or veteran of 20 years to have somebody say, level, and here's why. And as simple as it is, you can see, I think it's at the top of the screen. No, daily levels is coaching. Daily levels is something we share, and we just have in here last week's high, last week's low, weekly kickoff high. And that's all we put by, which you can go into more detail. But, we are ripping higher as far as firming up. And the fiddle in the middle is now look for an extension a little bit past this 30-minute range that we've been in that's been very tight for many 30-minute bars.
All right. I took that, and that's about 293.
Nice.
$293.
So D-Time, you said you had some opportunity. What's cooking over there?
I'm looking for opportunities. I think crude is kind of interesting, but I feel like I missed the long in crude. YM is really interesting, but indices have caught a pretty strong bid, so there might be a short opportunity at 39,300. But I want to see it tighten up a little bit at the tops here because Something I've noticed when I'm doing range trades, I don't particularly like it when we get really long candles up into the top of the range. Typically, to me, that signifies strength. So I'd want to see another 5-minute candle print at around 39,300 and kind of have it just hang out a bit and not really go anywhere before I enter into a short. I've had bad experiences, trying to counter trend trade a long candlestick on the 5-minute. So I want this to prove itself before I hop into a short here.
There you go. Okay. I took a little advantage watching gold here, trading both. I got my 150K XFA and put up a 240 on that account, and had my 50K here, put 351 up on my 50K combine. So just sitting back here right now with some decent trades here.
You working to get funded right now, Eddie, right? And I know there's some folks that come on air that we're going to have working to get funded. There's going to be ones that are trading live, and there's going to be one in XFAs. So your path right now is what, a 50K to what, or we have a bigger account?
Well, I got the 50K combine secondary. Right now, I'm trying to advance in my 150K express funded account, and that account. I've been down 1,000 and slow, step by step to try to get that back to at least flat line, where my head's above water. And then I'm going to take it easy there because, I had that bad day where I did lose 1,000 off it. But right now we're above it right now, looking I got 240 on it right now, balanced here, 655 on the day. So, or on the account. So I'm up 655 on my XFA, taking it slow.
Nice.
Well, I traded London, so I said that I passed one of the combines. There was a 50K. So I've got the other two, like I said, in Rhythmic. So one of them is now up $956. The other one is up $239. And the one that I passed, which you can see on my screen, is 546. So whatever that adds up to.
Well, Van just took a little bit of what Eddie did right there and added to it. He's up 900 today on two XFAs, and then he locked it up. And those that don't know, it's called lock out manually on your Topstep X. But we like to call it lock it up because you're locking it up money. It's kind of more fun to say that. But sounds like that is an official lockup because you can't trade once you hit that lockout, which means Van has locked in $900. And that's is money that's a great day. That's money that can be, I don't know where he is at with the number of winning days you got to post. You got to post 5 winning days. Do not have to be in consecutive order. They have to be greater than $200. Why do we do that? Because we want you to build a cushion and not go back. We want you to stay funded, get funded, stay funded, and start taking payouts. So it sounds like Van has got funded and staying funded. Yeah.
MP,
be smart. Don't be greedy.
Taking trading combines, passing XFAs. JD, do we have some stats for some of our traders who are doing that very thing?
Hey, we sure do. How's everyone doing this morning?
Doing
All right, let's start off with those hot streaks, if we could, please, James. All right, Jacob is back on the list after taking a short break from the markets and extended his streak to 31 days. Che is still jabbing away at it, now up 24 days. Dan S. at 22, Gabriel 20, and Arian now has a 16-day heater. Nice job all around there. All right, yesterday's best live funded PNLs. I'm sorry, Fridays. Mick just reminded me today is, in fact, Monday. So these numbers are from Friday. All right, our boy, Mr. Slow Markets, Dakota, carved out a nice $9,000 profit on Friday, trading gold, NASDAQ, Nikkei, and crude oil. Running the bases on the markets Friday. Edward, whose name we've seen on this list quite a bit before, profited a solid $6,000 down the week. We have Nick T, who was on Power Hour with us Friday, took home $5,200. Miguel with $4,700, and Corey with a nice $3,500 day. All right, let's take a look at a chart pattern.
Yeah, before we do that, Before we do that, JD, do you guys realize that Dakota is actually like just jabbing away, leaderboard after leaderboard on here? I do know he took a dinger on Thursday when the markets did a what was it? Why did they do a
Nosedive.
nosedive?
Yep.
Why was that again?
That was when news about raids came out. There's a lot going on Thursday.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Yeah, he was doing awesome. Then he took a dinger as far as DLL. I think it was a pretty big swing, but he just made that back, I believe, because he had a up, I don't know, over 3, ended up the day on that, I think, and he can talk about it more, taking a daily loss limit of 3. And then next day coming out and putting 8,500 up, that's like a ball player, Eddie. We always talk baseball. It's like a ball player,
Right.
like striking out, and then next thing you know, staying focused, and then just crushing it the next game, next day, the next game, the next day. Just playing the best ball that they can, and now back in the groove, and their mental capital is back strong again. Dolby, I know you talking about mental capital last week. I heard you on Friday talking about mental capital. Yeah, mine after getting hit too. Your mental capital starts to take a drain, especially after you're up money and then you lose it all and then you hit your daily loss limit. That hurts really bad. But to come back on an $8,500 a day, my point is here, that's really, really impressive.
I mean, Dakota's
Resilience.
fantastic.
Yeah,
trader.
resilience.
Yeah, and doesn't has a relatively low win rate too. So, it's something to respect, is that he's able to tolerate the not putting up winning trades consistently, but eventually putting up massive winning days. And that definitely takes a lot of patience and discipline, because I know if I hit like a couple losing trades, I can kind of get a little sour, but he knows his edge and is comfortable with executing that, and just totally fine.
Yeah, every time he throws a trade on, he shares it. He's only got like a 25 to 30% win rate, but he knows his risk when he gets in, and when he hits those dingers, they go long for sure.
Yeah.
It's the power of high risk reward as well.
Yep. Platinum, about 4 ticks off all new highs, and looks like crude oil is catching a little bit of a bid as well. Man, I need to have a bigger screen. I'm flipping through all these charts, and I feel like I'm missing setups by just like a minute. Maybe I have to
Speaking
add
of
some more
setup,
stuff.
JD, I cut you off on your chart pattern setup.
Yeah, I'm still here. You want to take a look at one? I got a couple
check it out.
examples of double top. We talked about this. One of the first patterns that we checked out was the double top. First and foremost, a reversal pattern. It does signal sell opportunities for traders. Very identifiable pattern. They're pretty easy to spot, fairly common in occurrence. Simple, you have 2 peaks separated by a trough in the middle. Once the peak is formed, the trough becomes your neckline or breakout point. Prices at peaks do not need to match to the tick. It's actually pretty rare, so give it a little leeway when you're looking for those 2 peaks. The measure move for a double top is the distance between the lowest point of the trough straight up to the neckline connecting the 2 peaks. That distance is then measured down from the breakout price. That is what a measure move is. It can be used as a minimum profit target objective also. Now, if you want to switch over to my charts real quick, James, we have an example that played out. We mentioned this last week in the ES. There was a nice double top here right around all-time highs. So we have our line connecting our 2 peaks. We're trading right at our trough line right now. And here's our measure and move, which turned out to be right around 67 handles. Just measure that down. Our profit target price was 51.96, which we hit on that move down on Thursday. I wanted to follow up on Thursday, but things were just so busy. And Friday, we never got to it either. So we hit that measure move target on Thursday on that move down, and it bounced right back. Now we have another example of this playing out in real time on a larger time frame. This is a daily chart of the NASDAQ. Here we see that expanding or megaphone formation that we talked about a couple weeks ago. It's still in play. But here's another giant double top formation playing out in the NASDAQ right now. There is our upper line connecting the 2 peaks and our trough line right here, which is right around weekly kickoff low. I believe that low is 18,006. So if we extend,
That's on a
Just
day.
measure move.
What is that JD time frame again? One more
this is on a
time.
daily chart. So this is a longer time frame chart right now. We're looking at the daily of the Nasdaq. So if this chart were to play out, we'd have to have a breakout below 18,006, or we'll just call it weekly kickoff low for this week. And that's a measure move of about 700 points, would give us a target price of around 17,300 if this pattern does end up playing out. So we'll be keeping an eye on this one, and I'll come back and reference it from time to time if anything happens.
Yeah, a double top. And guys, we're sharing these chart patterns. You're like, man, I know about this. Well, a lot of people don't. And then I've been trading since 1997. Wow. And then just to get the refresher is the whole point of these little touch and go. Thanks for the refresher, JD. That's really good.
You got it. Catch you guys later. I'll be back with the top 10 list just a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, David.
Now, really quick, guys, if you look at my screen, you got a double top there, but then you didn't quite break out the range here. But JD said if it continues, then you got that chart formation happening. At the same time, that's why you can get a little bit it's a little nerve-wracking to always be technically totally based, because the market's going to do, John said, but the market will do what the market wants to do. And there could be new information that hits the market and all that kind of great stuff. So that will change, or potentially change, your chart pattern, technical only type of trading. That's why people do say, hey, just the charts tell everything. The charts are God, or the charts are this or that. Be careful. That's kind of how I did it in the very beginning. I thought that was that was it. And then, there's price action, the auction process, and understanding all that. There's market pro. There's different things that you can add to see different layers of the market and give you better information on being more precise in your entry and higher probabilities of success by just getting an understanding of other things.
Little market update here. Crude had a big retracement off of 87.10s, and it is now back within the middle of its range from top to bottom. So a bid has definitely stepped into crude oil, up about 60 cents from its lows at around 9.20 to 9.15. Something to keep an eye on. Maybe buyers are hopping back in again. And the indices are just range bound, so I don't know what's going on there. Platinum is probably also like 7-8 ticks off highs, so commodities are doing pretty good today as far as volatility goes. But hopefully chat got to kind of experience two sides of the coin here. We had one day last week, I believe it was Thursday, that was mostly news driven, and I think we all kind of experienced how technicals just kind of got melted through. And now we have a day like today that's a little bit more range bound. Now technicals are coming back into play. Got an ordered fill from someone. That sounds exciting. Who was that?
I heard that as well.
Who was it?
I do not have an order.
Come clean. Oh, it was empty. Okay. You flattened it?
No, it wasn't. I don't have an order in. I put a working order. Watch, I'll put a working order in, and I was testing micros, and then I'll cancel it.
Yeah, it wasn't you. It was someone though.
That's all I did.
Yeah, we didn't get the.
I was feeling out the micros.
Yeah,
And
I think I'm flat everywhere, so.
Yeah, somebody asked if the micros are in here. We have the micros now in Topstep X. A good handful of the most important ones. More to come, though. Go ahead, Dobie.
Yep. Yeah, so just indices are in a range. That short at YM would have been really nice at 39,300, but I was zipping between my charts too fast to take that trade. So I probably need to get two charts up for two different markets so I can just kind of keep an eye on things, but I'm just missing those trades by about 30 seconds to a minute because I'm flipping through so many different charts, which kind of helps just having one or two markets to trade. So that way you're not missing opportunities, or just have like a matrix style wall of screens in which you can watch every single market simultaneously. But I don't want to do that. So pick my two favorite markets.
Right.
I caught a little short here in gold. I tell you, it's been a tug of war here, back and forth. Been watching. Big size on the offer, but these the buyers are very aggressive, pulling these offers out. Caught a little winner here, and just going to add it on. And I think I am done for the day. I hit my number here. Up 502 on my XFA.
Nice work, Eddie.
Nice. That's solid. Solid trading for a relatively slow day, but like a nice approach. It's a Monday. Just take some base hits. Dip your toes in the water. Build a cushion for the rest of the week. That always feels really nice as well.
Eddie, the silent sniper.
Yeah, small profits add up, and I tell you, that's worked for me
really
so
do.
well.
They really do.
And a lot of traders have to understand that. $100 is $100. All right, what's the next opportunity? Look for the next opportunity. It might be 200.
Yeah, so. It's 290 for me, Eddie, and I'm gonna end today. I got to roll out. I got a meeting here in 10 minutes here in town at a coffee shop. The old school way of meeting people. So I got to roll out of here. I appreciate you guys all. What you're doing today, and then joining you all. It's always very fun. Deanna, Dolby Time, Eddie Horn, Jack, JD, thanks guys for jumping in here. James for
Johnny Hoagland.
Background. Johnny Hoagland, my emotional comfort support. But guys, I'm going to roll out of here. You guys all have a good one. You guys have a good one today.
All right, man. Thanks for joining, Mike.
Thanks,
Michael. Take care.
All right, just scanning through a few things. Don't really see anything else at the moment. I do have a doggy that's jumping on me.
I got my emotional support cat here, per usual.
Yeah.
Hanging out. And he's kind of having a Monday, too. Let me see if I can... yeah, there it is. His eyes are actually covered. His paws covering his face. I got the NVIDIA camera blur on, unfortunately.
He's practicing for the eclipse.
Yeah, he is. He's like, this is too much. I got to sleep through this market.
This boy over here is more like emotional aggravation. He's not very calm. He's a boy that didn't know how to settle until a few months ago. So we had to do enforced naps because he would just be so sleepy and he would be going around trying to play with everybody because it's so much fun. And then we would have to put him to bed.
All right. I'm going to put an order in here in crude oil, actually. We're just going to try a little wonder on this 50K. And we're going to place this order at 86.09, which is just below this 1 minute range in crude oil.
Short?
So we're going to try a long in crude.
Okay.
And
if
just
that
see if
fails
we
the
can get
auction,
the upside. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that would be a failed auction.
Yeah, 86.09. Yeah, 86.09. So yeah. So are my charts? We're on my charts. Let me get these kind of big. So here's kind of a way. This is kind of like a microcosm because structure is the same across all time frames, but you can still trade ranges if you're a range trader in a trend. And so all you're looking for is these kind of stair steps. And then, you can find those relatively cheap entries. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So you have these little mini ranges in an uptrend, and then you kind of want to just, ideally try to buy, resistance becomes support, support becomes resistance. And this is how you can still be a range trader, but in a trending market. So this is like kind of the technique I would use to try to capture the rest of this. But this could also be like a half-hour chart or a daily chart. It's all the same because it's all fractal. But that's the kind of system that I would use, a range system for a trend trade. So we'll see if it works. 50K trading combine. We have a nice little cushion of 346 from Friday.
Nice one.
And look, so it's already blown way past. I'm not going to get. Oh my goodness.
That's the nature of failed auctions. Right. I was going to say you may not get a fill on that because the failed auctions, if it's a true failed auction, it's so fast. It's a momentum trade, and you have to be like almost front running it. And then once you see it accepting initial balance, the first hour of trading, that's it. It very frequently just rotates straight through it. We've also had the fake out value acceptance long earlier, so that. Is good for the long trend. So, we do have a pretty strong uptrend in place. And it would have been a good trade. But this is the pitfall of limit orders,
Live by a limit order, die by the limit order.
Yeah.
But missed it by just probably like 4 or 5 ticks there. We missed it by, not a big deal. I mean, crude offers a ton of volatility. It's already pulling back, for example. Let's actually, we can leave an order in at 86.07. So let's see if it does come back and maybe stretch the 1 minute range, and we can get filled on a little micro stop run as it tries to rally to the upside. So we'll leave a little one let in there for now just to see how it does. Dow everything is so rangy. Wow.
Where's your stop?
In the indices. I don't have a stop. Should I? Well, I don't have a stop in yet because I just drag them manually because I'm like flipping between 2 different accounts. So I probably should try to set that up just like to be preventative. So let's make one real quick.
Yeah, like a disaster stop, you know, to at least have something. Yeah. Because crude oil is slippery. So if it like whips through, you're just like, wow, well, what happened?
Yeah. So that's enabled. So we're setting up a bracket order. We'll close the order and we'll place it again. And now if we get filled, we should have a $300 or 30 tick stop because crude trades. That's how crude trades. I like it. We'll keep it. Okay, but my cat cannot.
The gold is looking very range bound to me now.
Okay, so we're long this crude guy right here. It's only one contract. Maybe we can buy another one though if we can get. Okay, Gus needs to stop rolling around though. He's like really pulling over my keyboard. So like I don't know if I have hotkeys or something. So we'll keep the keyboard over here away from the cat. Good fill though, 86.06. 86.06. Oh my goodness. All right, just stay still, buddy. You're doing great. Okay.
What's his name?
Good fill.
Gus.
Gus the cat. Gus the cat. He was
Gus
arrested.
the cat. So Gus the cat is gonna do us a trade, yeah?
Yes. Yeah. He's trying to claw my monitor. Oh my god. Okay.
Claw the monitor.
Yeah.
It's got to mean something.
He's doing this stretch up against my monitor, and if he gets his claws out, he's gonna rip a hole in this LCD. So he needs to chill. All right, we're up 10 ticks in this trade so far, so we're doing good. But let's move our target up. I think we can try to get this 1 hour range high, which would be 86.47. Let's see if that happens. But we got filled, and it just bounced immediately. So really, really good immediate price action on this trade. You know, if we can get up to like 20 ticks, I might even go to break even, you know, relatively early. But typically I do allow at least one test of my entry before I go to break even, just because, you know, crude is kind of rude like that sometimes.
I think everything is like that. It's not just crude. There's always a retest of a level of interest that the bounce happened from. So if you move your stop to break even too quickly, it tends to take you out of the market, and then the market goes your way, and then you just want to go and jump out the window. So I also allow at least one test of the level of interest.
Yeah.
In fact, I come to expect it and I anticipate it, and I don't freak out. So some people are like, why didn't you move your stop to break even? But first of all, I don't like doing that, because in all of my years of trading, every time I did that, it went back to test my entry and then went 150 ticks in my favor without me on it. And you're like,
listen, I got a lot of opinions about going to break even. It's one of my least favorite things to do. And I think it's a trap in general for new traders, because it's so tempting to not lose. But at that point, you're also really reducing your chances of winning. And if you are going to break even a lot, you're kind of betting against your own ideas, not having them play out.
Yeah, I think it's false economy. It's different when a really advanced trader does it, because we usually do it based on some kind of a data set that we've had and we researched, and we're like, okay, well, this is how many times this happens, and therefore you take advantage of something that you've actually seen happen to you, living through all of these trade setups. If you're just moving your stop to protect yourself from losing, that means that either your trade locations are wrong or that your timing is wrong. So I would first look at that rather than defaulting to a fear-based behavior where a profitable position is doing what it's supposed to be doing and you're cutting it off. One thing is certain: when you put it on break even, you cut off all profit potential if it comes back to hit it, right? So you will never make money that way. So you need to do the break even strategy through some sort of a data-driven process rather than just, put it to protect the position. What are you protecting? It's like, you need to know the market events that lead you to protect the position. If you're just protecting it for the sake of, I don't want to lose, that's not a good enough reason.
I agree. And I just turned into Dolby over here. Hi, guys. What's going on?
Hello.
Hey,
How are we doing?
Hey, Jack Dolby.
how's your Monday, Jack? I mean, Dolby.
I mean,
Wait,
Jack.
what?
Yeah,
I mean, Dolby. I mean,
either
Jack.
one. Hey, no, it's doing fine. I'm the same sort of tired I am every Monday, but feeling pretty good, actually. Didn't do too much this weekend. So just kind of looking at the ES, not doing much. It's kind of at the top of the value area from Friday's session. And I'm sitting with my hands on my butts. What are you guys in?
Fun. I'm just
I'm doing the
watching the
same
markets, did a few
Yeah.
trades. Yeah, so I'm also keeping my hands on my butt.
Good way to start a Monday. Yeah, not a lot of fireworks right now. We were glad that MP got a chance to stop by and talk a little bit about the updates with Topstep X. It's good to see that he's in Chicago.
Yep.
Good stuff. Well, this week, Jack, what do you think's going to happen this week? You think we're gonna make some moves here with what we've got coming out here?
I mean, like always, I'm waiting for the reckoning of which there's so much divergence right now between the expectations of where rates are and like the cuts versus the equity markets. And
Right.
I'm just waiting to see which gives in, so to speak. So kind of waiting to see a new market state here. That's more my style. I'm not as rangy as Dolby is, but I think right now that's kind of what you got to be looking at.
You gotta be careful. And the thing is too, this morning, and I'm talking about my monetary victories here, and really what I should be talking about is my win column. I tell you, any trade you put on that's a win, there's going to be a profit behind it. And I find myself looking for the monetary targets, because I scalp. And, like I said, small profits add up. I'm, 100% behind that because that's the way that I trade. That's the way that I've seen success. And, you've got to look for the wins. Put in the win column and then check your P&L. But, keep it to a, um, you know, uh, something where you're not getting greedy, just seeing the money add up. I mean, this is where, a lot of people, a lot of traders I've talked to, a lot of trade reports I've seen. I've even seen it here in chat today. Last Friday I was up 1,000, down 600 on the day. Well, what happened there? Why did that happen? So starting the week off, a lot of us are on the right foot, putting some profits together. Win column looks good. And you know what? Lay off the gas here. Tap the brake and see if you're comfortable with what you have so far. A lot of us, right now, like I mentioned, gold's a tug of war back and forth. And, I caught some small wins. And I'm very happy with what I did. I'm done for the day. I was ready to lock out my 150K XFA. I'm ready to lock that out because I've hit a profit target where I'm very, very happy about. I took some heat earlier. First couple trades put me in a hole. I think one of my best trades here on that was a $780 winner with a 3-lot that sort of got me out of the hole and sort of shed some more light on my trade day. So that's where I am right now.
Nice.
Very
Lock
nice.
it up.
Yeah, it's a good feeling to lock it up on a Monday.
Oh, yeah. I see a question here. I haven't been keeping an eye on the chat. There's a question from B2B Raymond C. Can you please discuss the GC level of 2340 for potential long? Well, if you look at GC today, it's very range bound, and 2340 would be kind of. That's where I took it. It was because it's a neutral day, and all I was looking for is just the return into the initial balance. But because we have the extension of the initial balance on both sides, as you can see by these blue areas on my on my chart. That means that if you are looking for any further trades, you need to look at the extremes of those ranges rather than any kind of middles. But I was kind of fiddling around, so I actually wanted to pop in that trade a little earlier, but then it ran away so quickly, which is the nature of mean reversion trades on a range bound day, that I only managed to enter at about 23.40. Yeah. But that was a pretty good idea on a range bound day, as long as you stay away from the middles. So anyone looking to go long now, well, you might get lucky because we have an uptrend, which is pretty fierce. But in general, going long in the middle of ranges on a range bound day is not a very good idea. So that's the only thing I have to say there.
Avoid diddling in the middle.
Yes.
And there's some
Don't
diddling
wanna
going
do
on.
that.
Just doing a check-in on the Mag 7 or whatever you want to say here. Half of them are up, half of them are down a little bit. Not a lot to do with that.
And this crude trade I've been in has been so far so good. I've had the joy of having my entry turn into support, which is always a great feeling. Way better than the vice versa of that. So we're still looking for crude to break out of 86.20 and even 86.30. So it's still very, very tight. I am interested in adding one more long just below 86 to see if we can get a stop run and get pushed to the upside. If we do get filled in that, our total risk on this trade, if we do lose, would be around $240, which for a 50K account, I'm totally fine with. So that would give me about one more trade in crude oil for the 50K account before I switched over. So let's see how this ends up playing out and see if 86.06 can still remain as support for this trade we got going on. A little bit of size.
Now, I saw you moved a profit target on that, Dolby. You talked about how you did not like moving stops. Did you move your stop at all from that disaster one to something a little tighter?
I actually moved it tight, then kind of. I'm at a reasonable spot for my stop here. I believe it is under the 1 hour range low that I had drawn earlier. So I am looking for just, maybe an extension kind of past, 85.92 if it really decides to do like a deeper pullback and maybe stop out some more people. So that's kind of where I'm looking to operate this long from, is just to see it kind of reconsolidate above 87.80. It's kind of re-ranged, and let's see if we can get some support there and have it push back to the upside. So this would be a stair-step continuation range trade. This is what we're looking at.
Rightio.
Hey, we saw the market move here, top of the hour. John posted something in chat here, the New York Fed, talking about the 3-year ahead expected inflation 2.9 versus the 2.7. So some of this stuff is minor number, but it's coming out sort of hot. March 3-year. Also, they're talking about March year ahead expected inflation unchanged at 3%. So that's what hit the wire here, and we do see some moves that's going on right now.
Quick tilt roundup as well. 61% long ES, 59% long NASDAQ, 46% long crude oil, and 63% long gold. Diddling in the middle. More of that.
It's not diddling in the middle. Is that platinum? Platinum, a tick off high, is trading at $975.70. So if you're new to platinum, trades at $5 a tick and seems like it moves pretty comfortably. Actually, it's not incredibly volatile. So if you are looking for another market to trade, maybe pop into a practice account and try some practice in the platinum. But it is in TopstepX now, along with 4 other micro contracts. So if you're a fan of the micros, those are now in TopstepX as well. But I think platinum's going to be a market we're going to keep an eye on probably going forward in the future, especially if gold is not giving us the volatility we're looking for. And we like trading rocks. So
Dolby, this is like one of those internet unboxings. That is my first time ever seeing a platinum ladder. It's a little bit small over there. What's the liquidity like right now?
Liquidity is
thin. It's a thin market, very thin. Yeah.
So between 1 in 20 or 1 in 30 contracts, depending on size. On average, 10. So not a ton of volatility or not a ton of liquidity, I should say.
Because of that, you might also find that sometimes platinum has a bit of a spread on it, but it's only like 1 or 2 ticks. It's not like horrendous. But
Good
it's
point.
just because it's not as liquid as some other markets. One thing to pay attention is if you are ever going to trade it live, you might find that the fills are not going to be tight. So I don't think it's going to be very good for scalpers, but it's very good if you're looking for these larger moves. So that's what I've been doing with platinum. I don't scalp it. I usually look for about 60, 70 ticks out of it, maybe more. And then I don't mind getting slipped a few ticks here and there because I don't use stops that are super tight. So that's one thing just to be very mindful when you're trading platinum live. Obviously, if you're on a sim, that's not going to matter. You're always going to have a perfect fill. But some of us, we do go into live. And if you get funded trading platinum, just don't be
That's something
surprised if some
pay
things are a little
attention
bit different.
to, because I know we had the YOLO brigade out there, Dolby, the pullers,
Yeah.
the 15 lot crew.
Yeah.
You can only do that in liquid markets, right? So don't take it over to platinum and start trying to do market orders with 15 lots of it or something like that.
If you'll be there for a long time. Yeah.
Yes.
Or you'll be there for a while because you're going to be like, oh, enter trade. And depends on how the platform is set up. Is it fill or kill? Or whether you're going to wait for partial fills. You might find that it fills you 2 and then another 1.
Yeah. You can get yourself into some serious trouble really quick in the liquid markets, especially, we only allow you to trade the on the run contract at Topstep, and that's precisely the reason. But I have seen people have horrific fills. So we're not talking on size. If you're not looking at the right ladder, you can lose $10,000 on a 1 lot of futures just instantaneously, right?
Yeah, I had 1 month where for some reason I forgot it was an expiry. It was like last year, and because crude oil rolls every month, so I went into a trade, and it was like I think it was like an 18 lot trade, and suddenly I look at it and I'm like under like 3-4 grand, and I'm like, what? So I was like, what's happening? And then I see the gaps and I was like, oh, you idiot. Oh, great. Yeah. So I just killed that immediately and then I switched. But obviously I was in a hole for about 4 grand. Not a nice way to start the day.
No,
so
and there's
be careful, guys.
No calling your broker and being like, made a mistake. Can you undo this trade, please? It's
yeah.
like,
we did used to do that though. I don't know if this is still the thing, but on the open, right? And I think it was part of like the integrity of, the businesses and stuff like that, or like trying to establish that you're the good guy, is that we had a rule that if we were on like the winning side of something like that, because what usually happens is the market is not filling in yet. Somebody throws in a spread order and it gets hit right away and you're down a bunch of money or you're up a bunch of money, but it's a communication error. So we used to call up broker tech or something like that and bust trades. There are ways to do that, but it's not going to happen in the middle of the day for a retail futures account, I don't think. Let me know in the chat if you can still bust trades. It's not something you should rely on.
Never even heard of that. That sounds like that's a privilege for people who do a lot of volume. Probably are professional.
Yeah, so I've got like corporate accounts and stuff, and even we don't, like, nobody's ever offered that to us. So it's always like you have a private contact at the brokerage that you're with, but you don't have, oh yeah, we can roll it back, don't worry. It's like, no, you made the trade.
It was so embarrassing if you had to do it because you were just calling on your hands and knees, waiting on hold for a bit, and then being like, yeah, I'm the
anyway,
I'm the dumbass that just lost the guy I work for X amount of money buying that 112 half or whatever. What can we do? Can we split it? Can we agree on another price? And sometimes it worked.
Funny. That is funny. Yeah. A little update in this crude oil trade I'm in. I did go to break even because we tested my entry a whole bunch of times. Currently, we're getting some resistance at 86.30, but this trade is protected right now. We're just going to let it play out. Something I do want to work on this week, and maybe some other traders want to follow along, is I want to do a discipline challenge, and I'm going to start it during I think Power Hour. and I'm going to keep
Uh-oh.
track. But something I really want to work on is being much more meticulous about my exit strategy. Because I feel like right now it's like a little loosey-goosey, and I've seen so many good traders on recently who have such a tight-knit system. Like Max Maserati, like he sat in that NASDAQ trade for so long, made a boatload of money, and he was cool as a cucumber because he was following his system. So I want to capture some of that from him, and part of that is making sure you have a consistent and executable plan, whether it's for entries or exits or position management. So that's what I'm going to work on. If chat, you want to join in Power Hour, we can talk about it. And, maybe we can all get a little bit more disciplined together. I think that would be fun.
What he was doing was, it was simple too, right? It's like he was so confident because I think he was just waiting for a green bar on the 5-minute chart, right? And for 2 hours or something, it just never came. And so he's just like, why would I buy it back?
Yeah. It makes me jealous.
That was a great
that's that would be an OODA loop, right? So you're just looking for price action. If it doesn't come, you just stay in.
Yeah, and he had the
Lots
ES
of people
traded. It wasn't NASDAQ.
And that's slower. Yeah, exactly. So you can sit in trade. I mean, I sit in trades for a couple of hours sometimes,
Yeah. I mean, we've been in this crude trade for a minute, This thing is still going. And we actually did break up through 86.30s. So we're still looking for continuation to the upside in crude, but so far momentum has been pretty good. But when did we even get into this crude trade? This was 9:55. So we're on 20 minutes and counting here for this crude trade. And we're just going to let it play out.
Great. We got a few updates here. We did put a poll out there for trading platinum. 73% said ixnay. No, they're not gonna. And we got 15% says no, but going to check it out. And we've got 10% that says yes, I'm going to try trading platinum. Dolby time, what? $5? $5 a unit, right?
Yeah, 5 a tick. Yeah, $5 a tick. Not bad at all. GC is 10.
So I have a sneaky plan here with the platinum. So because it's a thin market, so with us, there's enough of us. We are, an army, Topstep army. So if there's enough of us trading platinum, we can actually contribute to the liquidity of the platinum, right? So there'll be more people trading it live. So that's my sneaky move, yes, to make it move, yeah, or to be a little bit more
like the
liquid so they can trade more contracts. Yeah.
Everybody get in there. All right.
Yeah.
Wonder how Danny feels.
Real quick. This just in. Earlier I was talking about our funded trader, Pin Sinding, with 13K. Has just added another 4K, 17K in the profits for today. So that's
nice.
Gosh, that's like a month. It's like a great month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Already, yeah, it's great.
I hope somebody shuts the day down. I'd like to see that end up very nicely. But just an update. There you go.
Somebody's asking about platinum, whether it's correlated to other metals or is it a loner. So a few years ago, gold and platinum used to be like twinsies. They used to be, very, very correlated. But in the recent years, they've sort of decoupled and they do their own thing. So I would say at this point in time, over the last year or so, maybe 3 years, platinum is its own thing. It's like it's not really connected with gold that much. Obviously, if there's something related to the overall market, monetary policy, then it will move in sync with everything else because everything is somewhat related to the US dollar, right? But when we're talking like normal everyday events, like not news related, nothing to do with Fed rate decisions, it's pretty disconnected. So you can look at it as an isolated product. You don't have to look at correlations or nothing, and it makes it much simpler. Sometimes whenever I'm trading, or I used to trade NQ a lot more frequently, I had to look at ES or something else to correlate the levels because it was so slippy. Platinum is not like that. It actually follows its own levels really, really closely. So outer value area edges are pretty good. Average session and daily ranges are pretty good. but it's very time dependent. So it likes to do this New York lunchtime fade nearly every single day. So if you are in a long trade, just be mindful of that. Don't like hold it through lunchtime and expect that it's just going to keep screaming, because statistically, that's when they start taking profits, from what I could tell from my own research. So just a couple of things, behavioral quirks that you can expect from platinum. It also doesn't have much of a move after 12 p.m. CST, so Chicago time. It's literally just dead after that. It's just whatever they've done up until then, that's it.
Nice. We have also waiting in the wings, obscured like the sun this afternoon. We have JD, I think, is back there. JD, can you hear me?
Nice.
If he's not, he's probably coming. I'm probably going to get stopped out of break even out of this crude trade. It's starting to pull back, and we're actually now in a 1 hour range for crude. So
yeah, this would not be a failed
getting
auction now
icky.
because of the price velocity. So the price velocity is not fast enough for a true failed auction. Therefore, from now onwards, if I'm going to trade crude, if it doesn't pick up really quickly, we're talking about a range bound day. So again, go 30 minutes, find your range, fade the edges. Don't try getting involved in the middles.
Yep. And then JD, you there yet?
I am here. I was here.
Is MP there taking pictures yet?
No, not yet. I'm not sure exactly what time he's due at the office, but I am told that he is due eventually. So we'll see what happens when he gets
glamour
here.
shots done today. Should be
Nice.
fun.
Glamour shots.
Doing a headshot?
Football. Glamour shots.
All right, let's take a look at those XFA PNLs from Friday. Here we go.
All right.
All right, Wayne T with a whopper of a day. Just over 18 grand on the week. Balkaran, who has been jockeying for the top spot on our leaderboard, profited 14,500 to end the week on Friday. Baron pocketed 12,700 bucks. Antonio made just around 11 grand, and Omar with $10,800.
Nice.
Those XFA numbers are always pretty impressive, right? All right, here we go with that top 10 list. Bottom half. Jesus took a $3,000 drawdown on Friday, but is still hanging on to that number 10 spot. You also took a small drawdown and dropped a notch, moving from 8th into 9th place. Farouz is back on our list after dropping down to 14th place last week. Nice to have you back, Farouz. Johnson hanging tough, too. Johnson made it on the list for the first time on Friday when he skyrocketed from 45th place up to 5th place with that nice $15,000 winner on Thursday. He took a small drawdown on Friday, but he's still sitting in the top 10. And Dakota is now in 6th place after transferring balances from 3XFAs to his live account. I think there might still be a little discrepancy in that account balance, but hopefully we'll get it figured out in the next day or two. I feel like he should be a little bit higher on the list, but we shall see.
I thought so too.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
This new?
That's a big one. I'm out.
All right. Dolby's out of his trade. All right.
I'm out of my trade.
The drum roll didn't help. I'm sorry, Nick.
That's okay.
All right, here's our top 5. Isaac made $1,000 on Friday, helped move him back into 5th place. Pin took a drawdown, but held on to 4th place for another day, and Pin is having a pretty good day today from what Eddie just told us, so probably see him up another notch tomorrow, maybe. Sheng Jing dropped from 2nd to 3rd after a $5,000 drawdown. Balkaran moved into 2nd after that 14,500 day that we mentioned just a few minutes ago, those XFA PNLs. And our leader, Raj took a $9,000 drawdown across 3 XFAs, but he still has the highest total account value at Topstep, so he's hanging on to that top spot for the time being. There you go, folks.
It's incredible.
That is our top 10 list. You got it.
Wow. Thanks, JD.
Very nice.
Putting up some big numbers. That's nice to see.
I'm going to
Bet
try
our
and
names
crude long
went on
again.
there.
I'm trying.
That long crude. Where'd you get long crude?
86 for one, and then I have another one at 92. And I'm just saying if this is just going to be a little stop run into Euro close, and maybe we just catch a bid and get back to around like 86.15 or 86.20. So now we're long 2 at 85.96. And let's see, maybe I'll risk 420 for you, Eddie. See how this
420,
plays
baby,
out.
420. When is the Jack? When's the solar eclipse supposed to hit Chicago?
You know, it's a gradual process. My understanding is that it will be at its, what would you call it, peak totality at 2:07 p.m. So during power hour, I think the sun will be 94% covered. I think we're going to have to step outside for a second to burn our eyes before we do that.
I see you. I see you behind
Yes.
that eclipse.
Yeah.
Moon River.
You just know that there's
Decent bid in
thousands and
CL.
thousands and thousands of people that are be going to the hospital today
Oh, yeah.
because they stared at the sun.
I don't know. I mean,
Didn't Smash Mouth have something to say about staring into the sun? Didn't they have some wise words about that? Yeah.
They did. I forget what the message of that song was.
I'm not
People
sure if
saying
there ever
squint
was
hard.
a message.
There you go. Tyler's talking about total eclipse of the heart. There's
Oh,
another
nice
song.
reference. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mitchell
so
Brooks walking on the sun. Here we go. We got that. Everybody walking on the.
We're going to
walking
move
on sunshine.
this stop to 85.86, so just below the last 1 minute. So that's going to be $200 of risk on 2 contracts into Euro session close. And I do want to try to peel one off. We did leave some money on the table in the last position, but that's because we only had 1 contract on, and you can't split a contract in half in futures, unfortunately. So we do have 2 on now. So hopefully we can get a bid, and I can take one off, get like a couple $100 cushion, let the other one run. So we'll see how that plays out. But only $200 of risk on this CL trade here going into the Euro session close. So 4 more minutes, and hopefully we get back into
This is where
range again.
micros might come into
Oh, yeah.
consideration.
Yeah.
You know, if it's only like $200, you can totally do like a bunch of micros and then peel them off. So
Yeah, you could. I did not for this one though, unfortunately. So we're full risk here. Let's see how it plays out. But so far so good. It could be worse.
What is going on in our
could be
comments?
worse.
I don't know. I see that, huh? What's going on here?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, wow.
Yet.
Yeah.
Hey, can we put a poll out there? Can we get a poll going here? 10:30 Chicago time. It's about 10:30 Chicago time. And we talked earlier about, are you trading on a Monday? Are you not trading on a Monday? Robert, put a poll out there if you can. If we have, let's see who has traded today, who hasn't so far into today. If you traded today on a Monday, you're just sitting back like some traders are, fine. If you're trading like some traders are, fine. Just want to put that poll out there and see where we are as far as who is participating and who is sitting back and absorbing the education.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that traders
are
enjoying this trade.
So I'm saying the way D laughed about 420. It's like, it's funny, you know.
It's a cheap joke. Come on, chat.
Exactly. I can't even laugh now, you know. Jesus.
Laughter makes me more optimistic about trades. Yep. So crude trade is actually doing decent. A little bit of pullback. We're probably going to get our test of entry in the next 2 minutes, and hopefully it just decides to bounce and make me happy. That's the goal. That's the goal. But so far so good. I'm not taking a lot of. Yeah, I'm not right. I haven't taken a lot of heat on this trade so far.
Do you still get like happy when you're right, or?
Oh yeah. I have no control over my emotions. Yeah, 100%. Winning trades make me so happy. Losing trades, I'm like, man, it sucks. Yeah. It takes a long time to kind of get rid of that. I think what does help.
I got rid of that though. I got rid of it. I'm still a little bit bothered about like losses, especially if the process is not there. Like if I've done a dumb trade for no reason whatsoever. But with the wins, it's just like what it's supposed to. And I've been doing this like for 16 years now. 11 out of that as a prop trader. And I don't know. I just don't really get excited over trades winning anymore. I'm just like, nah, whatever. Could have done better. That's usually the comment that I have in my head.
Well, whenever you're right,
That-
you're right, and when you're not,
Yeah.
it's a bad beat. And I'm with you. I struggle with that as well. It makes me happy if I make a winning trade, but I would be lying if I said that the happiness I experience from that is proportional to the bad feelings I have upon losing a trade badly. So something I'm working on to be more neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting a little bit.
I used to go
crude. Okay.
like leave the office and go to the art institute and just sit there like that Pablo Escobar meme for a few hours, just trying to clear my head.
Just hold yourself.
Okay. Now we're along 3 in crude. So now we're along 3 at 85.93. So we did buy 85.87. So Euro sessions closed. So I'm hoping we get back to point of control as the market tries to restabilize here. Only risking $330 on 3 contracts, so our risk is relatively tight. It's been a nerve-wracking crude trade so far because all of my positions have been up at least $200 or $300, so I haven't taken any profits yet. So that doesn't make me super happy because I feel like I could have done some nice base hitting and been happy here, but.
So you know how I said it's too slow for the failed auction, and that we're going to move to range-based trading. Well, in my head, that means base hits. So rather than looking for my big trades, it's just like whatever the first move gives you, take it, then look for another trade. So I've been kind of working on getting a bit better at that because I know that on range-bound days, I kind of got a little bit complacent last sort of 2-3 years because of vast liquidity that we've had in crude oil. So I would put a trade on and would just go for bazillion ticks, and I'd be like, hit target, done.
Yeah.
But I used to be a lot better with base hits, and I've noticed that recently, like in particular in the last sort of 3 months, I've been looking for bigger trades because I'm not in the position like size-wise that I'm used to, and I've been staring at monetary values. So I'm just like, it's just like 600, really? And then I'm looking for more. And I got myself into a really bad habit of not taking the base hits. So now I've switched things up to just look at ticks again. So never mind monetary values. I've actually removed monetary values from my P&L. And all I'm doing while I'm in a trade, I'm just looking at the amount of ticks that I'm getting. And then once I get like 15, 20, 25 ticks, if that's what I'm looking for, just a base hit, I'm out. So that's what I did today. And I'm kind of glad that I got myself out of the big, big sort of like, oh yeah, let's just hold every trade now for a million years. It's like, no D, it's a range-bound day, just take the big profit. What are you doing?
Yeah, so what I'm trading right now is I would consider a 1-hour range, and so I'm supposed to hold this for a long time, unfortunately. But I agree with you.
But why would you on a day like this? It's slowing down.
The range, I know, it's the range trade, and try to trade, range low to range high or to like range mid. So this is part of like that struggle. Like I never feel comfortable taking profits. I think it's one of like my biggest weaknesses. And so I'm going to try my best to be disciplined and, follow the system of profit taking. But you get into situations like this where it's like, oh, do I need to add a rule here and I add a rule there? And then I feel like now I'm
where the OODA loops.
Yeah,
this is where OODA loops help. So putting the I call them OODA loops, but I think it's a lot more fun to say OODA loops.
Way more
So
fun.
it sounds like a weird animal. So for me, it would be about figuring out what sort of a day type we have, and then matching the appropriate strategy that you're looking for that day type, and also looking for price velocity. If there's no price velocity, I'm very, very quick to take profits. If there is price velocity, it's usually in the first part of the session because there's a lot more movement there. But we're coming into lunchtime. So just one question that I would kind of ask myself as a part of the OODA loop is, is there enough movement in crude oil for this time of day, which you know very well, Dolby. I don't need to tell you how crude oil moves during lunchtime. So just asking yourself, is it appropriate to hold that long for this part of the day?
Yeah.
And then once you have that answer, you can modify your profit expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I am going to end up holding it because that's what I'm trying to do. So the first thing we're going to test with profit taking is we're going to try to do half range, full range, and then extension out. So half of this range would be 87.10 to 87.40-ish. That puts us at around point of control. So I want to see if I can get one out at 86.20 before I close this position. So that's going to be the goal for target 1. Then target 2 would be 86.40, and then the third one would be 80, like new highs, basically. So we'll see. It's probably going to honestly just stress me out a whole lot. And I think you are right that short-term profit taking is probably the most profitable choice here as it starts, pulling back and a bead of sweat starts slowly dropping down my face. But yeah, we'll see how this ends up going. Yeah, right.
Look at you scaling, and
You'll
those
be all
are
right.
three of the big boy contracts there.
Oh,
the
yeah.
oils.
Oh yeah, we got 3 E-minis, but tight risk and put another trade. We've been up like almost $400 in this trade, and once again didn't take profit. So now, if you calculate all the times I was up a couple $100, we're at almost $1,000 in unrealized profits. If I had just base hitted the entire time, maybe just gone like 2 to 1 or 2.5 to 1. So definitely nerve wracking here a little bit, but we're getting a bounce, so we're good. Just got to believe in the structure and let the trades play out.
Seeing a little slow motion sell off in the ES. It looked like it was going to take a peek at VWAP. Didn't quite get there, but it's hanging out right around there now. Nevertheless, nothing huge at the moment, I would say. Nothing that would
I am
be
going to
interesting
move
to
my
me at
stop
this
up a
hour.
little bit. I'm only going to risk 120 now. So we did come down, tested my entry. So I'm going to move my stop to just below the previous 5-minute candle. Ideally, it really shouldn't get back down here for the most part. So let's look for some continuation to the upside. But now we have reduced risk by about, 66%. And we still have 3 contracts on. And the momentum so far has been favorable. So we're going to hang in there with this one and just try to let it play out, even though it is pumping my heart rate up a little bit to not just take the base hit. But momentum has been good.
Easy, boy, easy. Push you down with cold water.
Now, if it goes enough in your favor, with the moving, you don't like to move stops, right? But is there some point, if this is like way in your favor and you're trying to hold it, that you would move it into profit?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I would probably start trilling it up. But like the hard part is, having it consolidate. Yeah, well, probably because CL just cut a bid. But we can sell one. We could sell one CL, or we just take it right. Oh my god! See, this is where I get caught. This is too much thinking. Too much thinking. Not enough letting the system take care of itself.
You know what I found helped there? The flow diagrams. So you just put it in a process of flow. What you're expecting, and it just visualizes the whole process a lot. I wouldn't be able to trade without doing that. Obviously now I don't necessarily create those because I have them up in my head. But when I was still learning about profile, that was such a huge help because there's a lot of components of the profile that you just think about all at once and just kind of breaking them down into visual pieces. That was huge for me. So I love my flow diagrams. I'm obsessed with them. I'm such a nerd.
Got some news from Freddie here, which should make crude happy. U.S. seeks to ensure Russia can't develop new energy projects. Wow. Okay. Well, all right. Let's see how that does to crude oil.
They already weren't.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to break even on this now. We've been I'm going to time stop this a little bit. So now we're at break even on our 3. So everything's just upside now. We keep on testing the top of the 5-minute range in crude oil. So let's see how this plays out. I'm sorry I'm covering so much crude, but I think it's the only trade I'm in right now. But hopefully the lessons and what I'm talking about can translate to other markets for traders. I think we have all kind of gone through this with profit taking. It's just such a imperfect science. this the whole profit taking business. I know chat's like take your money. It's like I agree, chat, especially because
You
like
can't be wrong there,
I know,
You
but
want,
I'm
you want to
trying
make
to
sure you
play
take
the
something.
system. Trying to play
Well,
the system.
if you're committed to levels, then that's your strategy.
Yeah.
That's your style.
So we are
You have
close.
to do
So
that.
I will pull one off. I don't want to be a dick for a tick, right? As they say.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can take
There's someone
86.15.
There's someone who said, I'm going to disagree with this like so bad. Srinath Gadam says, but looking at points is the same as looking at P&L. Really? So when you're trading 100 lot, you think that's the same as looking at ticks? Let me see you not freak out with the thousands going in front of your face. And let me ask you then whether that's the same or not. Because I guarantee you're going to change your tune there.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
that's
that's
what we
a
learn.
good
We
point.
learn from that,
Well, I think even on the
Part of the
floor,
process.
that's how traders communicated. They didn't say dollar signs; they said ticks. They said
Yeah,
ticks. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Spoo and Nasdaq pulling back here right
Special
now.
Production says, can we add ticks to Topstep X? I'm dying. I'm with you, man.
I did take one off here, so we're plus 110. Everything else is break even. So we are still looking for the. I'll remove this T1 because that kind of is what I took. So now we're looking for 86.36 would be top of range. So we're in a good spot, but you can kind of see how and why I took this trade. We were in a consolidation, and I was basically just buying the lows. And because I knew it was a little bit of a slower day, we were going into Euro session close, and typically, crude will reverse whatever the current trend is for the Euro session close, and then kind of undo part of that when Euro session closes up, because it's just the Euro session people closing up their positions, and so then it kind of rebalances.
Just enough to freak out all the newbies to get them to close their positions. It's like, yay!
Don't freak. No, don't freak. It's part of the process. Hey, just wanted to share with everybody. I know that we talk a lot about the levels and so forth. If you're looking for that, there's probably a lot of new people here too. If you're looking for the levels that Hogue has for, I know, our four markets, TopstepTV. I'm going to post a link in the chat here. Hogue's levels, it gives a daily schedule. You can meet the team, bookmark it. I just posted it here for our Topstep TV. That is another website we have versus our Topstep.com. So check it out. A lot of good information on there. And hopefully you can use those levels and keep those levels up each and every day. Remember, every day that you do come in, refresh your screen if you've got those levels sitting there. And they will be according to what we do have. And I think JD updates that each and every day. So thanks, JD.
Yeah, I'm sort of sitting in the middle of the range here. Yeah, I mean, if anything else is going on, we could definitely talk about some more markets. Dude, what are you looking at right now, or whoever?
Sure. I mean, like ES is just sitting right at VWAP right now. The tilt's 50-50. It's the middle of the middle. I think that, we got CPI coming up this week. I wonder if it's
waiting.
Yeah, just kind of waiting. So it might be a little bit of a slow couple days before that.
Yeah.
I'm still looking at gasoline futures here. Our Robert. I was tempted to short it earlier, but given that we're coming into lunchtime, I might give that a pass. And then I'm gonna wait for possibly a day range fill trade, maybe a long into the close. But the time of day is not right for that yet. It's too early.
And
so that's the only thing I'm looking at for the second part of the session. Yeah.
Hopefully we get some gas. I think we'll get gasoline futures to Topstep X. That'd be fun to kind of pair with CL and see how those kind of correlate. But I mean, Nasdaq is doing nothing. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're similar, but but in regards to time of day, it's the same. So you can expect exactly the same behavior that you see in CL. It's just bigger.
Really?
So it's got it's got about 400 ticks of range and a lot of follow through. Obviously not every day, clearly, but on the days when things are moving, you can get so much more out of it. And it's also cheap. So per tick, it's about $4.20.
Really? Okay. How is
There's
it really? It's a
another one,
$4.20. Is that after
$4,
commissions or?
No, it's $4.20
Okay. Okay.
per tick. I don't know why they price it like that. Yeah, $4.20. Yes, I was gonna wait for Eddie's response there.
It's a magic number. It works for some of us and not for others. It's a
I
magic
think
number.
it works for most. Yeah.
Speaking of magic, we've got our group coaching with the trading magician, John Hoagland. We've put if you've got a question, let's put it this way. If you got a question up top, we've pinned the link up top, and let's get some questions in for Mr. Hoagland. The Hoag will be doing group coaching with JD, and also I'm very disappointed here. And does anybody want to know? Anybody want to know why I'm disappointed? Not really? Okay, we'll move on. No. The likes. Let's get some likes in there. If you like what's going on here today on this wonderful eclipsal Monday morning, click the thumbs up. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. So let's get those likes up here for today. We would appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
it's Eclipse Day.
That's all I've got.
We should show that again, James. It's Eclipse Day.
Yeah, that was a good one. What's the Teletubby thing there, Jack? What is the Teletubby? What is that?
The worst Teletubby.
What's the background there?
It's just the first thing when they requested something like that this morning that came to mind as far as a sun was that they have that baby in the sun. Teletubbies. Yeah. So
someone was doing a lot of acid when they were doing Teletubbies.
Probably.
They sure were. Nothing like
that. Yeah, they made a lot of money on that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a big show for a while. I did move my stop up to $85.94 to lock in an extra $90. So we did kind of rip down and catch a bounce. So I moved my stop just below the previous 1 minute candlestick as crude figures out different ways to torture me today. So we will keep on hanging in there. All of a sudden, that $500 I had unrealized is looking pretty damn good right now. So we will keep on holding.
You can get a Teletubbies Blu-ray with those profits.
Yeah, right. Let's
the whole series.
The
NASDAQ traders. We'll switch to NASDAQ. We've talked a lot about crude. So NASDAQ, lo and behold, stuck in a range. Go figure. So more range trading for indices as we most likely await news later this week. Probably talk to Peter Tuchman about that and what he's expecting. She should be up at 11 o'clock. Man, these markets are slow.
But you know that Tuchman's going to come in here like a, herd of bulls. Even though the market's slow, he's be amped up.
He's got
pump myself up right now.
Yeah, that's so much energy.
Yeah,
all of us here are, obviously quite kind of like younger people, not necessarily young, but younger. And he's just like, hey, what's happening? And all of us are like slowly dying over here.
Yeah, I got out of the crude oil trade. So we got 197. So like not the worst. So it puts us up 540 in the trading combine.
Okay.
So we're I don't know. I gotta make three grand. I mean, that's not too bad. I kind of like the 50K account, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, I prefer the 50Ks, to be honest. Yeah, this is why I've got combines and stuff. So now I've got one of the XFAs on a 50K as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm 18% of the way there as far as profit target goes. So
it's very achievable. The 50K is my favorite one. I always say to people, whoever's coming into this industry, just start with 50K because it's got a very generous drawdown if you're not trading like a lunatic, and yet a very achievable target as well. So it's very scalable.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like it takes So I've been trading the 150K for a while, and it just
Mhm.
seems like you got to kind of size up if you want to pass in like a quick amount of time. It's like, I don't want to take all that risk. It's like $9,000 is like a lot of money to
Yeah,
have
it
to
takes
make.
a
And some
long
people really
time.
like
I
it.
got
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I mean, when you really want to kind of scale up and it's your first funded account, like it does make sense to maybe go for larger accounts. But
Mhm.
obviously, I still have the live. It's just I wanted to move to some XFAs and combines whilst crude oil was doing its weird stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
whatever
let's
stuff.
remove risk. Let's just track it. Let's still be involved in the markets, but not put any real risk on. And it's it's really achievable. If I was going to go for 150K the way I trade, I like to trade safer. So I don't go for, I don't pull pork it with like, oh, let's go in with like 10, 15 lots. It's too much for those kind of accounts. I know I blow out on like 3 lots if I try to trade like that. It's just not
Mhm.
very conducive for my style of trading. So I always like to play it on the smaller size, but getting more ticks out of the market. And
Yeah.
it's something that's worked for me. And right now, all I'm doing is just adding to the XFAs to my live. So I'm not looking for any extra leverage. I
Yeah,
just
right.
want slightly more flexibility and slightly more scale up potential. So why would I go for 2 months of hard draft to get funded again on like 150K? It's like it's no
Yeah.
point. So let's just get in 50Ks, do it in like a week or two, and we're there. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree with that. And like I've been in this
Mm,
150K account for a while. I was down. I
yeah.
was like $400 away from hitting my daily loss limit in this account, and now we're at almost plus 4,000. So that's what,
Mm,
Okay,
almost
yeah.
$8,000 in profits, and I still have another
yeah.
like 5 or 6,000 to go. It's like, oh my goodness, this is going to take me
But that's
forever.
because you put yourself in a hole
Oh
initially.
yeah,
And then
it was a
you're
big.
kind of not only do you need to reach the target, but you also have to drag yourself out of a hole. And that, it's how it is sometimes. You just have to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think on this one, like I think my first day was like minus 3,000, and I was like, "Oh, that's a fun start." So let's turn it
Yeah.
into a $12,000 profit objective off the first day instead.
Oh, God.
So we're rallying
Famous
though. We're
last
rallying,
word.
chat. We're
Yeah.
gonna we're gonna pass them. Crude oil melting to the downside. If I wanted to
Yeah.
hop back in again for a long, maybe 85.40 or even a stretch of like 85s, there doesn't really seem like there's a lot of bidders coming in at all. So we will wait. I don't want to chase a short here because that's out of my system, not my system.
Is your system only long,
So,
Dolby? For
No, it's just like this is like, I would consider this a momentum trade. It doesn't mean you can't make money on it, but I don't trade momentum. So it's just a discipline thing to have the patience to not strategy hop and just like, oh, this looks good.
mhm.
Because if you
Yeah.
do it enough, you end up taking a bunch of dumb trades because you probably made like $200 on it once, but the other 10 times you did it, you're probably losing because it's just not in your wheelhouse to do it.
Someone's asking, Christian 2024 says, can you explain how you add your XFA into live and how it works and how many XFAs can you add to your live? Well, you can have 3 XFAs in one live funded account. So if you ended up transferring one of the XFAs into live, you can do another combine if you want to keep up the XFAs. Like technically you are allowed to have 3 XFAs in one live. Okay, at any one point. So that's how that works. Now, obviously, the funding team will sometimes make a decision to move some of the XFA funds into live, and sometimes you don't have much input over that, which is a good thing. But then, you're kind of stuck with almost like a less of a drawdown per day. And this way, because I trade the London session, I trade the New York session, I trade multiple products, I want to have a bit more flexibility to maybe kind of try London. And then if that's quiet, I can go on to another different account to trade the New York session without blowing out for the day and being, oh, well, now I'm not going to trade. Now I'm in a practice account. So it just allows for more flexibility on the part of a trader, especially if you're trying new markets. I have traded crude oil for like 11 years, but I've never traded RB. I've traded like maybe a couple of times before now, and somebody suggested that I try it as an alternative because it's more liquid. They were right, and I like it, but I wasn't going to just plow into a live immediately. I wanted first to see
Right.
how it works under pressure. Now that I've proven that it's okay and that I feel comfortable with it, we can kind of move forward with the exaphase. If exaphase perform well, we can then move into live. So that's kind of the process.
Right. I mean, that's great account management and just overall kind of like trading combine strategy, sort of like the
Yes.
game within the game.
Yep, absolutely.
Really quick, it'd be remiss before we left if we didn't, and I promise you it's easy. I was hoping MP would be here. You guys want to do a quick Series 3 question?
Sure.
Just a
Go
real
on
quick
then.
one.
Go on.
Good
Go
luck.
on.
Let's do
There
it.
it is.
Torturing us.
That's-
Torturing us, Jack.
You know, what is it? Like, I'm just taking orders, D. I'm just following orders. 70% to pass the Series 3, and you too can be a seller of futures in a professional sense. Let's see our lovely question today. I think I made this purposefully easy. Futures margin varies as a function of the individual's objective. Because of this, certain clients have a lower initial and maintenance level than others. The following clients all have this preferential margin requirement with the exception of A, hedgers, B, spreaders, C,
Oh, I'm sorry.
speculators. No, that's fine. I can do it. And D would be both B and C, the spreaders and speculators.
Right. What
Any
is
thoughts here?
I have thoughts.
I'm
I
going
would
to go
love to
with
share thoughts.
spreaders, maybe. Hedgers or spreaders. I don't know.
Well, remember, the question's asking now is it's asking which of these does not have
Oh, does
preferential
not. Okay.
treatment. So that might, once you distill it, there's so many words there, but I think the answer is pretty,
Okay.
I think pretty clear.
I'm going to say C, because if it's not preferential, it's going to be a speculator, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't know.
All right.
That's what I
Are you guys
said.
ready to see it? Let's see what the answer is.
We've got mixed reviews here. B, C, D, E,
Yeah,
Yeah,
F.
that's what I said.
Who
Nice.
put F?
It
I voted
is
for F.
C.
Woo!
And I can
C.
I
explain.
got one right.
I can
There you go.
explain these because I used to work at a place that was kind of in this thing where the margins are super low because when you're trading spreads, you know, you essentially can't blow out trades the same way. It's safer to hold them.
Yeah,
if-
that's so. My problem with these questions is that I never read the whole question. You know, if you want to torture me, give me one of those like textual logic questions that we had in school. I hated those, and this was always my problem. So Jack was like, not preferential, and I'm like, oh right, no, that's easy. But initially, I was like, who has preferential treatment? Well, the spreaders will one day.
Yeah, the spreaders do and the hedgers do for actually
Yeah,
kind of the same reason. It's that, you know, if you're hedging, you have something, you know, you're speculating.
You're locked
just
in. Yeah.
the Komodo's open, so to speak. You're just sending it.
Yeah.
So there, that was something we did, and we got it right. So good job, everybody.
Cool.
Thank you, Jack.
I just got a message from Peter Tuckman. He's not going to join us. He has a little personal thing
Oh.
going on. So we will try to get him in tomorrow, schedule permitting. Hopefully then there actually will be a little bit more to talk about because today has been pretty chill. But he had a thing he had to take care of. We will try to get him in tomorrow as long as we can fit him in. But yeah, Peter Tuckman loves coming on, so it's no big deal. He's not trying to bail on us or anything. Just a busy man. There's a lot going on. A lot going on in New
Speaking
York.
of bailing, watching crude here.
Yeah, heading
D-time.
lower.
Yep. He's taking a nosedive. Yeah.
Take a little dump here.
Could not extend above that 1 hour range high in the slightest. And actually, if you look really, really close on the 5 minute, this level that kind of was acting as support for a long time at 86, let's say 8606, 8610, that little range, that support actually kind of became resistance at around 1040, 1045, and it could not crack above. And after that, just absolute bail in CL. But I still think there are options to get long in crude. I just think it needs to flush a little bit lower before some bidders start coming back in. It's still a non-news, like a really, really light news day, so it can just be profit taking. Also, big decline in volume as well. Have added that,
And
so
we shall
not a whole lot
see,
going
Dolby, how that develops. However, we have come to near the end of our time for Fast Markets today. Be sure to stick around because we got Power Players coming up next. Bonnie is joining me for the Eclipse edition of Top
Nice.
Quiz. Yeah, Eddie, you're doing the shoulder tap with Mick, JD and Hogue for group coaching. Professor Robert and Anne-Marie and Hogue are there at 1 o'clock. And then Dolby, Coach Jay. And am I reading this right, Dolby, that David Green will be with you too for Power Hour?
Oh yeah.
All right.
That,
Yeah.
We're
you know,
cutting them
miss
loose,
the
baby.
eclipse. You know, there'll be another one in 100 years and you'll be fine. Stick around to see Power Hour with
There
David
I
Green.
did.
Deanna, thank you so much for joining us today. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks for having me. It was fun as usual.
Of course, yeah, fun in these slower markets.
Yeah,
But anyway,
quiet markets.
we'll leave that to Dakota. We'll be back just after this. Don't change your YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
No.